across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the James Wales Show featuring Ash. I'm Andre Walker, and this is Asher Gould. Now, I will say one thing. Our live telephone link-up with James Whale hasn't quite connected yet.
We're just getting it established.
No expense spared. We have a BT truck putting in cables as we speak. But before we do that, look, last night on our show, we missed out a really, really important story. And I'm going to read this to you. It's called Just Cheat. Illegal migrants are being hired by food delivery firms and get up to £1,000 a week delivering all your food. Now, I've said before today that if you go to food delivery firms, and there are some notable exceptions, I think it was Domino's who actually employ people directly, so that's good on them and do all the checks and whatever. But a lot of these companies, you know, your Just Eats, your Deliveroos of this world, are actually self-employed people, and they're not checking whether these are illegal migrants. Now, remember something. I've always said, to get these deliveries cheap, you actually have to end up paying a lot of money. You know, healthcare for migrants, social security, in-work benefits, housing benefits, schooling and all that sort of thing. And I just worry, Asher, that what we are doing at the moment is we are pushing down wages for ordinary British workers, and what we're doing is increasing taxes to pay for the subsidies of the migrants who are pushing down.
I mean, 7.7 million people aren't even working out of a working population of 35 million, but with these Uber Eats and Deliveroos, and they are checking the people, but then some of these people are then sort of farming it out, so they're using their pass. It could all be solved where when you deliver it, there's a facial recognition program that could easily see if it's the actual one. They obviously don't really want to capture these people because it's keeping their wages. This is keeping all of it cheap and quick, and loads of staff all the time. And even when the Sun exposed, you know, this hotel, and they're offered bikes within half an hour and working, instead of them trying to do something about it, the hotel put screens so you couldn't see them coming out on their bikes. So they're just covering up the problem. That's the typical way of the whole. That's the microcosm of what's going on in society.
Tell me about your relative who I met, who was very embarrassed about the fact he owned the building of a nightclub. The nightclub went bust because of COVID and whatever, and he had to start doing what? He put up a load of people, he converted it all into...
It became a hostel, and then the government said, can we have, you know, this, I think it was about 30-odd rooms, and he said every Albanian that came checked out the same day, so I don't know where they were going, but they weren't hanging around. Yeah,
it's absolutely dreadful. OK, I think, is it possible that the live telephone link-up to Kent has managed...
James in Kent. James in Kent has called in, 03444991000. James.
Yeah, well, I'm getting fed up with this, guys. I'm sitting here watching you on this bloody... What's his name? Just prattling on about nightclubs, and you just standing there looking gormless.
Yeah, but I've got a nice jacket on, haven't I? So that's all. That's the main thing.
It's a very old-fashioned sort of... I work in a bank jacket.
Yeah, it's one of yours that you gave me, yeah.
I did not give you anything fashion as that.
So how you doing anyway, Wales? What's going on, man?
I'm not doing terribly well at the moment because I'm just doing a phone call, calling in.
Yeah.
Just to prove I'm still around.
Well, you sound fantastic, you know what I mean? Maybe you don't look it, and that's why we're listening to you, but you sound on full tip-top form, man.
Well, it's very nice of you, but let me just tell you that I can't... To get up out of the chair is almost impossible. To stand up is almost impossible.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I have my charming wife here who's beginning to feel the strain of it all as well. So we thought we'd have a night off having to look fantastic, didn't we, darling? Yeah.
Yeah, just letting it all hang out, man. Just chilling out on the couch with the animals.
Yeah, well, we're literally, if you can imagine, an old-fashioned photograph of the family lying there with very little clothes on and you know...
Like cavemen.
Chewing the cud of the day. So I think we look more like cavemen than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, but this isn't getting the thing sorted out. Last week I said, when we talked next... And by the way, thank you for all the calls during the week. It was really nice to hear from you. I heard that we were going to get rid of the boats, that you had a plan. What are you eating, by the way?
We've got a big pack of crisps here.
Oh,
They have got rid of the boats. They've just done a deal where we just swap the migrants for a French migrant. It's like just swapping them around. And so they have sort of got rid of the boats, but they haven't stopped
That is, by the way, James, crazy. This idea that every person that we take from a boat and send back to France will take another migrant in Paris and fly them to London.
So it's net zero again.
What's the point of that?
And they'll send us worse ones, you can bet that.
This is not a huge problem to solve if you're an intelligent country, which I thought we were.
It's very easy.
So we're being invaded by a bunch of people who may well be throwing at the moment bags of Smarties at us. So we're being invaded by these, whatever word you want to use. I could go too far. And we're not doing anything. We're not taking it seriously. Our armed forces wouldn't stand for that. If they would stand for it, and if our armed forces have become full of woke, I better be careful.
Woke wallies.
Woke wanky wallies, yeah. If they have not taken more interest in what they're doing, then they don't need to be in the armed forces. The forces are there. Stop it, you big silly. Look at what's happened today. Keir Starmer has looked around very sad and miserable and forlorn because he's going to have to change his mind. And it's not, you're all speaking with no volume, so it's okay, chaps. Unless, of course, Chuck, the producer, thinks something they're saying is interesting, then he might put it through. But at the moment, you might as well just sit there and button it. But I think the whole problem is that we don't know where these people are coming from. We don't know why they're coming here. Some of them may well be trying to escape the terror that they're living with. So come on, guys, what are you going to do? Your turn to, we're being invaded. We're actually being invaded by other countries who are coming into this country. A couple of women and a couple of children and a few families, but that's more for show than anything else. What are we going to do?
But don't you think they're doing it by design? It's gone on so long. And I think, there's different theories, but maybe, a lot of the experts from Professor David Betts to plenty of others who advise governments have said civil war is inevitable. They haven't got the police or military to control the population. So are they just dividing the population so that they end up having a go at each other and sort of the government? It's divide and rule, really. Is that why they're bringing in basically military-age men to form a different army?
Very worrying. Very worrying indeed that we are not realising how one side of our society is being turned against the other.
Yeah.
And the fact that these guys are coming in here illegally, they're dumping their papers, they're not complying with any rules or regulations, is absolutely nerve-shattering.
But James, can I ask you this question? What I don't understand is, if the Border Service, if the Home Office, if the police, if the Royal Navy say we don't know who these people are, but there's only one thing we do know about them, they're definitely not terrorists and criminals, that just sounds to me to be garbage. You either know who they are or you don't know who they are.
It's a national security matter.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and there are too many of them going, oh, well, poor lovely. There are charities who are actually trying to make people feel sorry for them. They don't need to be felt sorry for. If you were a parent, a loving parent, you wouldn't risk taking your child in the temperatures we've had today, in the calmness across such a large piece of water. You wouldn't. And I think it's about time that we stop talking and it's about time that we actually stopped and thought about what we're doing.
We got some they leave the children wherever it is from the troubled region.
James, if you're happy with callers, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. Do you want them?
Why don't we take some good? Because they might have. It seems to me the people of this nation are far more intelligent than the rest of us.
OK, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll do it from here because you won't be able to see it on your screen. Paul in Redditch, you're through to James Whale.
Very clever.
Hi, James. How are you?
I'm not too good, I have to be honest. I'm in the final throes of cancer, and which is why I didn't have the energy to put any clothes on tonight, so I'm not doing terribly well, I must admit. How do we situation?
Sorry, James. I realised that was a stupid question, really, because I know you're not good, but
upon us.
Well, I did just want to say to you, James, that I'm a huge fan of yours, and so I'm a bit emotional talking to you, really, because I'm such a huge fan. And I wanted to say thank you for all the entertainment you've given me over the years with your shows on Friday nights and Saturday nights.
That is really very much appreciated, and thank you, Paul. But yeah, I'm heading out at some time in the not too distant future. Paul, the fact is, something has to be done about this. Do you have a solution?
Yeah, what's the solution, Paul?
Put James Well as Prime Minister, if we could.
If James Well was still young and thrust instead of an old man in his 70s, who knows? And if he wasn't suffering from a terminal illness, who knows? But at the moment, we've got some quite clever people around, and they're doing nothing.
They don't get into politics though now, do they? People don't who are useful don't get into politics.
That is the slight problem, Paul, and indeed James. In the old days, people like James Whale would have been glad if they were called up to assist with government, to be in Parliament, be in the House of Lords, all those sorts of things. Nowadays, because of the way that standards have dropped, people just don't want to do it.
No, and that's the problem that we are getting, that they do not want to do it. They don't want to have any involvement in making it work properly. And there's some people behind, I think, what could be very nasty situation. We don't want a civil war in this country. Why would
Yeah, but the experts say it's now inevitable within 5 years.
Imagine the experts said that 50% of the population would die of COVID. So I mean, let's just be clear.
That's true. That's true. Right, we got another caller for James.
We've only got one line in because we've used the other one for the live.
We've got James in Kent on the other one.
So what we have to do is we have to fill for just a second whilst they get somebody else in. But in the meantime, James, I mean, that is an interesting question that Paul was asking. You know, if you had your time again, would you go into politics?
If I knew what I know, it was as much a way of getting politics.
You're breaking up, Bubba. You're breaking up. A bit like Norman Collier in that comedy act in the 80s.
I think he said if he knew what he knew now, he would help out. Okay, Heather in Gavan. Heather, you're through to James Whale.
Well, we have been sick and tired of corrupt politicians of both Labour and Conservative. No wondering why we are turning to reform right, left and centre, because we are getting damn well fed up of excuses and lies from politicians making false promises.
So what? What are you going to do?
Well, do you know what we need to do? We need to take power away from politicians. And
well, who are you going to give
away from them?
Heather's line's bad. You've got to sort that line out, Heather.
By the way, James, I hear this all the time. Too important for politics. Well, that's ruined the country with all these quangos.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to take a little break and let's get this line sorted out?
I think that's probably
We'll do that. We'll come back with James and Josh in London.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould in the hot seat because we've got James Whale via live telephone link-up. No expense spared.
Now Lady W's phone, it'd probably be much better.
OK, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's get straight into it. Josh in London, you are through to James Whale.
Hello. Hello there, James.
Hi.
I'm just calling just because I tried last week, couldn't get through, or just to say thanks for all you've done.
Well, that's listen, thank you. Thank you for keeping me employed for the last 50 years. Listen, what can I do for you, my friend, before we run out?
It was more just to say thanks for all you've done. Like, I've been listening for a long time.
Well, that's very nice. What do you do?
And it's been, there's no other easy way to say it.
Josh, can I ask a question? What is it about James Whale that is so sort of engaged with people? Because this is a guy who comes on the radio late at night, has a go at people. He's
very
really
rude.
But the second that he comes on the radio, the phone lines light up like a Christmas tree. What is it about him and not somebody else?
They're complaining in the main.
For me, I mean, I can only go for a personal opinion. As somebody who likes a good laugh, I just like it. I like the fact you just make these people look incredibly stupid.
Josh, it's because I'm the sort of guy who'd offer to buy you a drink in the pub.
That as well.
He wouldn't buy you a drink, though. Let's go to Paula. Is Paula in Halifax?
Yeah, Paula is in Halifax.
All
You're
right.
through to James Whale.
Paula, you're on the air. Good
Much
evening.
better phone, Lady W's phone, by the way.
Evening, everybody. Evening, Ash. Evening, Andre. Good evening, James.
What can we do for you?
I'm just wondering how you're struggling this week, James, aren't you?
I'm struggling a little.
He is struggling a little bit, yeah.
I am struggling a bit this week. One of the things I keep
You
finding
sound
out...
like you're full of cold and chesty and stuff.
I have had a bit of a congestion problem, if you'll excuse the expression.
No, it's fine.
But anyway, let's not talk about me. So, what are your problems? What are the? Oh dear.
Oh, the dogs are at it.
The dog's got a cough now. Everyone's coughing.
Dog's got a cough
Dogs
now.
have got a cough, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine, me, James. Thank you.
Good. Well, listen. As long as you're fine, that makes it all worthwhile. All right, Paula.
Yeah, and you look at you. God bless James.
And you keep going, my friend. You keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
0344499 1000 is the number to ring. You all right, sweetie?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Thanks. Yeah.
Not.
We got Rocky in Weymouth. Rocky.
I love Weymouth. Weymouth is a much underestimated seaside town.
I agree with
Rocky, hi.
I love Rocky.
How are you?
What is it, Rocky?
James.
Hang on, Rocky, just a minute. Ash, shut your mouth or you won't have a job tomorrow.
Well, I'm just helping him smoothing things over. Can you cut him off?
Rocky.
I won't have that.
Rocky.
Hello, James.
Hi.
Nice to speak to you, James. I just rang up because I wanted to say to you to thank you really for making my teenage years watching the James Whale Show more exciting.
Oh, that's all right, Rocky. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, I had a good time. I used to really enjoy watching it. Yeah.
Do you work now, Rocky?
At the moment, I work in a horse stables, cleaning out horse stables.
Right.
Yeah, I find horses are very good for your mental health.
Yeah, they don't talk back very often, do they?
No, they
very
don't.
good they are too, and they actually have an exceptionally good, organised family life.
Yeah, I found out apparently I'm a natural with horses, so I was told.
A horse whisperer.
Right, Rocky, thank you very much indeed for that. I'm sorry to. Never mind, thanks, man. I'm sorry to do this, but I am now actually sacking you on air. Seriously.
Oh no, man. Yeah,
No,
it's never happened before. It's never
happened
before.
I play around and mess around at it before. Now we're at the situation where you just carry on. You know, life has changed, and you need to learn. Hang on, I've got the boss in the other ear. Yeah, he said, could you get in 9:30 tomorrow morning? He wants the word with you. I'm sorry, buddy, but
being sure.
the time has come, and you know I'm doing you a favour. Andre's holding your hand to make sure you feel okay.
Right, okay, well, in that case, should I pick him up and get him out?
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
come on,
Well,
it's
yeah.
time. You're,
You want to get
what you got? Unfortunately, what you have to say is we're leaving Talk Radio for the last time, but we're proud that we made it rather better. Okay, one last call before we sack Asher. Wayne is in Lincolnshire. Wayne, you're through to James Wales.
His favourite.
Wayne the poster. What can I do for you, Wayne?
Well, I just want to tell Andre about you, why he asked why people listen to James Wales. Well, when I was a taxi driver in 1983, I had the clients in the back, and they said to me, "What station is this?" And when they said, he said, "Why is that gentleman giving them so much a boost?" I said, "Because that's his nature." And they sat in my taxi on, and the meter was running till James had finished his boost on these phone callers.
Really?
She made a few quid out of it.
Then what happened? Then the word got about, and everyone started to listen. So I want to take a bit of credit in 1983 when James was dishing out boost.
Oh, well, I'm watching Andre now trying to manhandle Ash out of the studio.
That was a while ago now.
Well, you behave yourself.
You should turn your telly off when you're talking to us, because it's confusing you.
No, it's not. I can see you've got something to say, but it probably has as much validity or validity, or what's the right word?
Veracity.
Poignancy.
Veracity.
Yeah, veracity would be better, wouldn't it? It has. Look at him sitting there. Andre, he's sitting there trying to look superior to everyone. Have you noticed this?
I can't help that.
That's what he does. That's what he does. He does.
Has Mean James buried the hatchet now?
In what?
What, that he's not sacking Asher? Yeah, he will sack Asher. What normally happens, my understanding is the following week he decides that he's changed his mind.
Yeah. Well, he's never actually employed me.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Anyway, we've got Jill. Let's talk to Jill in Hertford. Jill.
Well, why don't we do that? Jill, hello, good evening.
We're going to have to go. Just
There
give
she
us
is.
1 second. Do that. Jill, you're through to James Whale.
Lovely. James, can you hear me?
Jill. Yes.
Thank you so much. It would have been a long, long time since I spoke. Oh, it says Wayne on the telly. A long, long time since I spoke to you. But I've been in the business, showbiz, all these years. I'm retired now. I used to listen to you on LBC radio, etc. I followed you in the evenings, but whenever I've tried to get through, I can't. I think you are wonderful. One of the things that inspires people is the fact that whenever we have troubles or we're not feeling well or anything, the thing is, then I look at you and I think, my God, what a fantastic man, and your lovely wife, who is so supportive and fabulous. I don't know why it still says Wayne on the television.
Because it's in delay a bit.
14 seconds behind.
Why? Why don't you ignore the TV? Don't read anything.
You should know this, being in show business.
As long as you know that it's Jill with a J and it's me speaking now, what I wanted to say was, dear James, I won't say what I did.
Are you
but
drunk?
No, I'm sober.
Okay.
But I was quite well known. You can find me in Google that. But luckily, they don't put my name up. Oh, my name's on there, but it doesn't say the surname. I'm also tuned in psychically. And what I would like to say to you more than anything, of one of my many sayings that have come to me in meditation, live for today, for tomorrow will take care of itself. And I'm sure you do. Live in the moment, sweetheart. It's fabulous. I'm sad I can't see you tonight, and you're not feeling well enough to put your photo on the screen.
But I'm not feeling well enough to get dressed up to... Anyway, listen, Jill, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Jill. Who we got next? No one. So anyway, man, are you all right? Are you going to stay on for a bit more as well?
No, I'm going to go now. I'm going to...
We got one more call, though, coming up for you.
my lovely lady W doesn't look...
I'll tell you what we'll do. Why don't we just explain to all the viewers and listeners what's going on? We have got 10 phone lines into the building, but only 2 can be on air at the same time. And because we're phoning James Whale, we can only put... So we can't line them up. So what we've got to do is, when somebody hangs up, we've got to quickly phone the next person. Anyway, Susan is in Lancashire. We have phoned her, and she's through to James Whale.
It's like what the government are going to do, guys, isn't it? One in, one out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Susie, hi.
Hi, hello?
Hello.
Hello, Susie. Don't listen down the phone. Just listen to the telephone, okay? Do listen down the phone is what I mean.
Yeah. Susan.
Hello?
Yeah, what do you want to say to James?
I just want to say to James that I've listened to him for years and years and years. I spoke up for us working class, and he's just spoke. I just love him, and I just admire him, and I wish him all the best. I love him. That's all I can say. He spoke up for us working class.
He's there now listening to you. You can have a chat to him, Susan.
That's right. She's right. She's right.
Susan, have a chat to... He's there.
Yeah.
Susan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to say, Susan, I want to say this to you, that I wasn't going to come on at all tonight, and then at the end I thought I can manage to do a couple of phone calls, so that's what I'm doing, although they're slightly technically difficult to do the equipment. But I would love to thank you very, very much indeed for the sentiments of this call, because if I'd known now, hang on, I've got myself confused now. If I knew then what I know now, I would probably have been more politically involved than I have been, because right at the beginning I wasn't, and I should have been. But listen, guys, I'm going to go. My wife Nazine is not very well at the moment, so I'm going to try. Well, I'm not well as you know.
It's not a competition. Are you coming on next week? Then you're going to be the same time. Maybe we'll see you next week on the couch again.
You might. Don't interrupt. We're having a family.
Oh, sorry, having a domestic.
Like, bloody well. It's not a domestic.
I was trying to cover up for it, you know what I mean, so people wouldn't know.
You know, all you do is make an ass of yourself.
I've just made it all worse, haven't I? It's just. Well, you know, I thought I was fired. So.
The problem is, well, I'm hoping to get an interview with a man who I think will possibly be the next Prime Minister of the country, and if I can, that'll be my swan song. That's what they call it, isn't it? My swan song. Listen, guys, I'm not going to hold you up anymore. You have a nice time.
All right, Bubba.
Enjoy the rest of the evening. And Andre, don't let him push you about like this.
I have to say to you, I don't think that I can be as tough as you and carry it off with as much grace. Let's just put it that way. Okay, well, I have to say, that is James Whale. I'll tell you what the amazing thing is about this bloke. You know, he's still a trooper. He still comes on even though he's not feeling great. Very proud. I nominated him for his MBE. You have been with him. How many years have you presented with him?
30 years. Since apart from a little 8-year gap when he broke the broadcaster's code.
30 years.
He had to go on the run, like, you know, in The Godfather, when he shoots the copper, he has to go to the old country for a few years, lay low, and he did that, kept his nose clean, he was back.
Also, there is one thing that in 50 years broadcasting, James Whale has not achieved. He has never managed to persuade the audience to realise that what you're watching now and what you're listening to is 14 seconds ago. If you phone us up...
Well, it's even further on the telly because there's another delay on that, so it's all very confusing. But it's not what you see, is not what you get. It's all an illusion.
So if you phone us up, you must mute your TV or radio. Otherwise, you end up in a situation like Jill, where she's going, "Why does it say Wayne on the screen?"
Even James got confused, didn't he? It was all very confusing.
We've never managed to persuade people to understand that. The reason is because sometimes people phone up and try and say off-colour things, so we can press a dump button, which means that it deletes the previous 7 seconds and it never goes out. Anyway, we will be back with the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould, and indeed Danielle Nichols, straight after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is the James Wales Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and now Danielle Nichols. Woo! There we go. Would you like a cake?
More than anything.
It's not a cake. It's just.
It's a scone.
A scone.
What's happened? What's happened with this is no, actually,
it's a Cornish scone.
I was about to say a lady has had a.
Oh please, please.
Okay. So are you having one?
I've already had a half.
More than anything, I want to eat that, but I'm on a diet.
What you're going to do now, Danielle, is tell us a little bit about this Just Cheat thing.
Uber cheat.
Lots of people are coming into the country illegally and delivering food. Now, it wasn't this. This is me that I made this.
You're not an illegal migrant delivering
I'm
food.
not an illegal migrant.
But he could have had an illegal one deliver some. And they probably might be a bit better as well.
I have a feeling the way Andre feels about food that he wouldn't actually mind who delivered his food, would you?
I would.
Would you?
Yeah, because they get horribly confused, don't they, about where you are. Right. Oh, I'm at your front door. You're not. I am. You must have got it. Do you know, I hate people like that. I remember when I worked at House of Commons, somebody went, oh, Andre Walker, you're not on the system. I must be on the system. I have a security clearance. I have a cancellation clearance. Are you sure you're spelling it right? Am I sure I'm spelling my name right?
No. Did they have the acute accent on the E, though? Maybe that was what it was, you know what I mean?
Do you have a little on your E?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never written
Otherwise
that.
it'd be
I've done it wrong.
It's unclear what my name is. Right.
Go on.
Because on
Don't talk with your mouth full.
Oh, I don't care. On my birth certificate, it's unclear as to whether it's John Paul with a hyphen or whether there's a speck of filth on the birth certificate.
Well, hang on. You'd have Andre John Paul as hyphened.
Well, it's unclear whether it's a hyphen or a speck of dirt.
Yeah, but you can't because that's your middle name. I don't think you can. You hyphen your.
Why can't you?
You
Well,
either attach the first name to the middle name.
All right.
So you've solved a problem after all these years. So it wasn't a
So
lie.
it's not clear whether my name is Andre John Paul Walker or Andre John Paul Walker.
Did you get a confirmation
I think it's
name?
Andre John Paul Walker.
My confirmation name's Andreas.
Is it?
Was it exciting? You know, because you get it when you're 12, don't you? Is it quite exciting getting another name? Can you pick it?
Yeah, I picked it myself. I decided I wanted to pick something utterly stupid, and I thought picking the Greek version of my own name.
That isn't utterly stupid. That's just a Greek version of your own name, and you've got Greek heritage.
Well,
but you already had Andre saying, and then he added Andreas.
Andreas.
Yeah.
So does it go Andreas? John Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Now you don't know where it goes in your name.
Well, you don't know what are the rules on confirmation then?
I don't know. Well, I'm not confirmed. Well, I am confirmed, but not as a Catholic.
Do you know I'm also Maya Tuzi's godfather?
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
He got baptised.
What's the responsibilities? You have to adopt him or something?
Well, no. I mean, to be fair, it's called a sponsor for an adult.
Right.
But I was.
Sounds like Alcoholics Anonymous.
As a godparent, it's just that you bring them up with Christian values, isn't it?
Well, I'm happy to bring him up with Christian values. I am happy to do that. Happy to sit him on my knee and tell him biblical stories.
But you're not happy about the fact that
Well, he's a proper
illegal...
asylum seeker. He's a proper one. His dad's in prison there, and he's done very well. But the ones we're getting over here are ripping off our
illegal.
And Maya Tuzi is a person who had no intention of coming to the United Kingdom, but the United Kingdom government said that the family was so in danger in Iran that they had to come. For those of you who don't know who Maya Tuzi is, he's Britain's most famous conservative YouTuber.
Right, there you go.
And he came asylum from Iran because his dad's actually still a political prisoner in Iran. It's a very dangerous time. He couldn't get in contact for a few days.
He didn't claim it. He was granted it.
The UK came and got him, basically, didn't they? They said, you need to leave the country.
They come and picked him up.
And I'm doing all this whilst eating a scone.
But what about the illegal ones that are taking a mick and aren't escaping danger?
Illegal migrants have been found secretly.
Danielle, you can lick my fingers if you want.
Can I?
Yeah.
I'm not licking your fingers. I don't know where they have been.
I do know where they've been. I'm definitely not licking them.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
I know that you don't always wash your hands when you go for a wee. No, I'm joking.
No, I can't. I can't.
You can't reach.
The break.
You can't say I can.
No, because when you have to run in the break.
When you have to run in the break, in fairness.
Yeah. I can either shake or wash. And I take the view that shake is better than washing, simply because at least I don't
drip.
Destroy my trousers.
Okay, anyway, enough of Andre's trousers. We're talking about illegal migrants who've been found secretly working for food delivery firms like Deliveroo and Just Eat, but this is the best, earning up to £1,000 a week.
Tax-free as well, of course.
Well, of course, because it's secretly. The Sun's investigation discovered they were being hired within hours of arriving on small boats while staying in free hotels paid by the taxpayer.
And you can see the Sun's footage on screen.
It's not a massive surprise, though, is it, that they're going to be wanting to work? Because they've already broke the law the way they've come into the country.
Yeah.
So I don't think they really respect our laws.
Well, that does savour them, doesn't it? A lot of them destroy their passports. That automatically says you shouldn't be coming in the country.
Yeah, look, they haven't come here to escape a war. They've come here to get a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember...
They were in France safe,
I met an asylum seeker from Albania. I met him on the train. When I was coming to meet you at the NSPCC thing. And we got talking via Google Translate. And he just said, Albania's very poor. I wanted a better job. Do you know anybody who can get me right of remain in the UK if I pay them? And he said also... do you know anybody who needs any jobs on a construction site? So he didn't for 1 minute pretend that he was fleeing a war. Mind you, that would be quite hard to explain from Albania.
However, that I've always said to you, haven't I, if things were processed faster, you want people. I think people want to go to work. I'm not of the thinking that everybody's a bad egg and nobody really cares. I do think.
Well, it depends what culture. Certain cultures have 70% of them are all on the social and in housing and social housing, and they've only just got here a few years ago. They obviously don't want to work.
But what about that? I was reading an article about Tunisia, and they were saying, listen, Tunisia has been massively improved. The waifs, the strays, the Islamic fundamentalists, we've sent them all to Europe now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they said the Islamic world is becoming much more forward-thinking because the idiots have been decanted to Berlin.
Europe is now, they say, the centre of jihadists.
Yeah, the United Arab Emirates is considering restricting access to the United Kingdom. As restricting access for United Kingdom residents on the grounds that they say that we are a sponsor of terror.
Being devil's advocate here, though, isn't it difficult to get out of your situation and get over to this country, even if you are doing it illegally?
Yeah, it is.
You just get the boat.
What happens typically is you'll get a knock on your door in somewhere like Pristina, Kosovo, and what they'll say is, look, we will get you to the United Kingdom for £10,000.
This is what I'm saying. You've got to have a couple of quid to start with.
No, you don't. The standard of accommodation you'll get is 4-star hotels, so they'll show them the quality of the hotels they're going to get, which is why people are rioting when they get substandard. Because from their perspective, they say, we paid 10 grand for this and we were promised 4-star and we're actually staying in an old army base. So from their perspective, what you then do is they then say, you don't need any money from the job, you pay us back, or from your benefits you pay us back. But here is the critical thing. When you get to Dover, do 2 things. Say, I would like to claim political asylum. I'm also a modern day slave. And what you say is, because I owe 10 grand to the gangmaster, that in of itself makes me a modern day slave.
And if you're young, say you're under 18 as well.
And you can't be deported because you are a slave. And so what happens is you then go on benefits and pay back the 10 grand. So it's all done on credit.
See, the way I feel about things, I always think it's quite, just the whole system, the way it works is geared up. You're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Just a small example, we're driving into London today. You obviously can't go over 20 mile an hour, that's the rule.
Ridiculous.
Right now, there are, I don't know if you've seen, there's big groups of people on motorbikes with no number plates on.
No.
Yeah? So the truth is, you can keep changing the rules all you like, but criminals will break the law.
Yes.
Then, by the very definition, they're not interested. So people coming over in small boats, there's no point having rules almost. They broke the law by getting here.
It's exactly the same. You will remember, I don't know if it's still there, all of those Pakistani factories near Strangeways Prison that used to make counterfeit goods, counterfeit clothing.
Yes.
Now, when they brought the minimum wage in, they go, we have raised the wages of all these people. There are ladies there working for £1 an hour.
Yeah.
Right. They're probably still doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Illegal migrants and whatever.
It's mainly vapes around there now.
People go, who are these illegal migrants? Well, if you've got some counterfeit jeans off the market, then they're going to have been made in Manchester by a Pakistani company, presumably.
Right. Okay.
We all treat
know
it's probably made by children now.
We've all been locked in a shop. No.
Yeah. We all treated ourselves to that little trick, didn't we?
But I mean, we don't.
Anyone now living in Manchester knows exactly
what. In the days when
Cheetham Hill, Cheetham Hill, isn't it? But I mean,
in the day when Joe Blogs was fashionable.
Joe Blogs and Naff.
And Dio Goy, do you remember that?
Stolen from Ivor.
We don't need.
Stolen from. Sorry, shut up now. We don't care. Right. Stolen from... Ivor is actually just some Jewish guy. And apparently his prices were so low that he called his shop Stolen from Ivor.
There was a Jewish guy called Ivor who actually owns 10% of the Shard now. He might be the same guy because he made all his money from clothes shops.
Wouldn't that be, that has got to be him. Wouldn't that be wonderful if it was him?
Yeah,
it might be him.
Can you imagine if Stolen...
Who are you? I'm Stolen from Ivor.
I read about this bloke with some Jewish guy set up some chain in the 60s. They had one shop and so on, they had a few chains, and then he ended up owning this bit of land, and he owns 10%. I think Qatar own 90%. So 10% of this bit of land and the Shard Quarter is owned by this Ivor guy.
Can you imagine if Stolen from Ivor made that much money off Joe Blogg's jeans that he now had 10% of the Shard? We're going to work out.
Yeah, let's see if it's him.
I love the way this is just not relevant at all. We'll be back in a mo.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and we're now getting a biography of Ivor Hazan, the Didsbury businessman. There you go.
It's not the guy, no.
So it is. We've established that it's possibly a northern thing. So we've just alienated half of our audience.
No, we haven't. We've alienated 20% of our audience,
Is that right?
Because whilst there's a few presenters from southern England, the vast majority of people are from your Burnleys and your Accringtons.
Are they?
Oh,
well, that's all right. You can all
By the way, I have to say, I think Asher was being a little hopeful there that Ivor Hazan sold enough jeans and naff T-shirts and Russell Athletics tops in order to buy the shop.
There's a lot of money in Schnatter.
Okay. Ken is in London. Ken, you're on Talk.
Good evening, everybody.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
It's wonderful to speak to you, and I'd like to just say to James Swale, James, I've spoken to you for many years, James. You're a precious soul. And I'm encouraging you again, James. You're possibly getting close to the end of your life. We're all going to die. That you seriously consider Jesus, James. He loves you. He died for you. He wants you to get to heaven. So don't turn your back on Jesus, James. Be very, very, very careful.
Well, wait a second, because we've had this argument with Ken before. So first of all, I would say that James Whale has not turned his back on Jesus. No. He is a believer in God. He is a Christian.
He was baptised as a baby.
Yeah, and
circumcised, belt and braces.
What's gonna happen now is Ken's gonna say, unless he's joined my own born again religious sect, he's going to hell.
Which is ridiculous.
James Whale never has professed to being a Christian, Andre. You're talking nonsense, my friend.
No, he was when
the truth of the matter is James Whale has been the most anti-Christ man on radio media.
No, James Whale doesn't agree with religion, as in all the
whilst
trouble
James O'Brien lives.
Yeah, and David Icke.
All the trouble it's caused, and you can understand.
Yeah, what about? There's loads of people on radio who are far worse. I mean, Sadiq Khan presented a show. That guy is...
Yeah, David Lammy, he had a show.
Evil man, but listen, I really, God bless you, James. I love you, James. Don't go to hell, my friend. But I called up tonight to talk about this. This world today is fast approaching the most dangerous period in human history.
I agree.
Jesus calls it the time. Jesus in Matthew 24. Listen to me. Jesus calls it in Matthew 24 the time of great tribulation, great distress that is coming to the world. We are headed to the most destructive time of warfare and judgment from God in human history. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, man.
No, Ken,
just because we can hear you doesn't mean we necessarily
Ken, we're letting you say this because we're extremely concerned.
What's the answer, Ken?
The answer is that we must repent and believe in Christ to be saved from the coming judgment of God. That is the only answer.
There's
All
Ken
other
behind
answers
Mick
are
Lynch.
false.
Watch.
All other answers are false. We are getting close to right from the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation, God's prophets have been warning of the time.
All right, Ken, hang around for 1 second. Stay on the line. Danielle, let's be clear. Danielle, what this man is saying is that the Bible predicts that there will be an Armageddon which will start with a war in the Middle East. Now, let's be clear. I think everybody is concerned that he might be right.
Yeah, of course. And this has been threatened for how long?
Well, there was a war in Armageddon about a year ago when Lebanon in Megiddo, which is Armageddon, has already happened.
There's been a lot of
right in
wars
Armageddon,
in the Middle East.
And we're still here, Ken. I mean, if it's written in the Bible, isn't it destiny anyway?
Isn't your religion, Ken? Isn't it kind of based on the fact that's happening? Isn't that like
You know, and see, there's been lots of wars. The most hated nation in history is Israel, the Jewish people. True. But the Bible tells us that the last great battle, which will be the Battle of Armageddon in the Valley of Megiddo, it's in Revelation chapter 16.
It's in northern Israel.
All the armies of the world will be gathered in Israel and they'll surround Jerusalem. There'll be a siege of Jerusalem, and it looks like Jerusalem's going to be taken over. That will trigger the return of the King of Israel, Messiah. He comes to defend Israel, and that's in Zechariah chapters 12, 13, and 14, and I would encourage you to read it.
However, I do believe that this is within your religion. Like this is where you've stood for quite some time. Like that kind of. This isn't the first time that you've threatened that this is going to happen. Like every time that there's
everything
a bit
he
of a
said
kick-off
has come to pass. Ken.
Well, that's not what I say, Ash. It's what God has to say. We're talking here about our Creator. He knows the beginning from the end. He knows what's coming. But listen, Ash. Yeah. He loves everyone. Christ died for the sin of the world. If you go to hell, it's your own fault. Everyone listening to this program has heard about Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. We have no excuse. And I'm speaking here in love and concern for...
But Ken, what do you think about what's going on in the Middle East? There's been sort of miraculous wins, hasn't there, against Hamas, Hezbollah with the pager attack and Iran, the strikes the other day. Is God on Israel's side?
Of course God is on Israel's side.
But they're all going to hell.
But they'll all go to hell.
God has got a foreign policy, and it's in Genesis chapter 12. And God said to Abraham, he said, I will bless him that blesseth thee, and I will curse him that curses thee. The most cursed nation on earth today are Islam, because they curse the Son of God. This is serious business. This is serious business, and I hope God will speak to your hearts and you'll put away your pride and seek the Lord, because time is running out.
Hallelujah.
James, listen, James. I love you, James Whale. I don't like all the things you stand for, but I love you as a person. You're a precious soul. James, this could be your last warning. Don't go to hell, James. Repent, humble yourself, and ask Jesus for forgiveness, James. God bless you and your wife. Difficult times are coming, James. Turn to Jesus, James. Don't turn to religion. Turn to Jesus. He died for you.
Thanks, Ken. And that's Ken in London. Now let's go to Kevin in Basingstoke.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Kevin.
Hello. I was going to mention about the asylum seekers working.
Yes.
I mean, if they are coming here and they're working, that proves that they could be productive members of society. I mean, they shouldn't be stuck in hotels for 2 years.
But they haven't been granted haven't been granted leave to, they might get refused. They shouldn't be working until...
I mean, Kevin, I think this is the argument by the political left. Look, the United Kingdom should be a facility that's open to everyone in the world who wishes to come. There should be uncontrolled immigration. And look, the reality is the people claiming asylum in the UK are actually economic migrants. But hallelujah to that. That's a marvellous thing. Let's get them working.
Well, no, I mean, it takes up to 2 years for them to process their case in the UK. That's why there's so many in hotels.
Yeah, but most of them are low-skilled. Even if they're working, they're not going to be contributing. You're going to be net losers, net drains on society. If you're just going to deliver pizzas, you're going to be claiming more for your family and house. This is why GDP per capita is dropping through the floor.
Somebody said to me that in order to be a net contributor to society, if you are 25, you need to earn a minimum of 45,000 a year. Yeah. The reason is Because fairly obviously, somebody aged 50 has a significantly lower cost than somebody aged 30. Because somebody aged 30 has got things like maternity pay, has got things like children at school, has got things like universities coming up in the future and things like that. Now, the number of migrants who come to the United Kingdom who are a net benefit to the United Kingdom is not zero, but it's virtually zero.
I know 0.6% of doctors, about 5% are agents, 0.5 are engineers.
Which is why, by the way, you can see the economy is growing because of the number of migrants.
Per capita,
but per capita, everyone's getting poorer.
We're worse than some African states now.
People should, you can surely agree with that, can you? That the people are getting poorer.
I disagree with everything he's just said.
Okay.
Immigrants to the UK, they take less out of society because they're younger, they don't use the National Health Service.
Okay.
Also, if they do go to university, they have to pay for it. Immigrants that come to university...
The problem is, Kevin, here's where you're wrong. Because, first of all, you've got the in-work benefits, then you've got the housing benefits, then you've got, if you have 3 children, you have not only the child benefit, but also what you also have to do, if you're a 30-year-old, you might have 3 children in school, and also you get the housing and whatever. As an example, 70% of social housing that was allocated last year in London was allocated to people who were not born in the United Kingdom. So that means that there is no...
And why would you take a job on... Why would you take a job on 45 grand? You wouldn't be able to pay for a house in Central London or anything like that if you did get a job. So this is why we're causing our own problems. We're digging our own graves.
People coming here on work visas, they're not entitled to benefits.
Yeah, but the side problem is the total number of people who came last year to work in the United Kingdom was 14%, 1-4. The rest were people joining their family. What is it? Something like the majority of Somalian men that have come to the United Kingdom have never had a job. The 80% of Somalian women that have come to the UK are not even attempting to get a job. The problem is the people that you're talking that net economic beneficiaries are so tiny in number.
And these working visas as well. There was one kebab shop had got 600, high-skilled kebab shop workers, which were obviously a load of BS, but they'd managed to get through. They work out, they have the students who come, and then they can bring their families and their cousins. I have to
say to you...
And it's a sham course.
Having been to university, the idea that you're allowed to bring your wife and children to university with you, I mean, that's not the way a real university works. No. By the way, London Metropolitan University had its student visa system suspended, its right to issue student visas suspended, because the Home Office, not me, the Home Office said that the London Metropolitan University was nothing more than a immigration scam. The university,
and a lot of them are like this. Some of these unheard of.
About students?
Yeah, go on.
About 2 years ago, there were 750,000 overseas students that come to the UK, and we made £47 billion from it. Because of the hostile environment, that dropped by 200,000. We lost.
Okay.
Well, that's because of the state of British society. People don't want to come here anymore.
Hang on a second. When you say we lost, go to the University of Oxford and look around the first years. The number of overseas students has not declined. The University of Bristol, the number of overseas students has not declined. The University of Cambridge, the University of London, St Andrews, Edinburgh, Glasgow, the University of Manchester.
People abroad do want to get educated.
What has declined is people who've registered for courses in underpants pulling up at the University of Grey Buildings, formerly Sheffield Ring Road University.
And that was a good course.
And the reality is, most people watching and listening to this understand that the right of an undergraduate. And by the way, to be considered a mature student as an undergraduate, you have to be 21, only 21, because the average age of students is so low. You're not allowed to bring your wife and children. I mean, how many students at the University of Manchester studying a first year in economics have got a real problem with the fact they can't bring their wife and 5 kids?
Yeah.
These people are 18, 19 years old. If you, I remember when I went to university. There was a guy on our course who was 25, and we were like, "Who's that old git?"
Yeah, I remember there was someone like that.
The reality is that there are a lot of universities which do not not offer genuine academic courses where people turn up in order to work in the country, 16 hours a week, and you work in your local Indian restaurant or Chinese restaurant, it's not true to say that these are genuine students.
Well, people that bring their children and wives are mature students. They're not.
But how many are there?
But there's sham courses, aren't there, that are designed just so you can get visas for people?
The University of York, right?
Wake up and smell the
The
coffee.
University of York has been criticised for the number of overseas students. When it was forced to stop its undergraduates bringing 5 children over, the number of foreign students dropped by 0. In fact, it actually increased, and they got into trouble for taking too many. It's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
Well, so don't you think the £47 billion is
No, I think we don't want it, because what has happened is the genuine universities have suffered nothing. I'll tell you one thing that has happened. If you look at the example of the University of York, you need to get 3 A's at A level to get into it, or if you're an international student, you can get in with three C's. Right? The University of York has been criticised for taking too many international students. I promise you, it is coming up in September. When you drop your children or grandchildren off at university, you will not see many people who are 50 moving into halls of residence with their wife and 5 kids.
And if we do, it's very suspicious.
You won't. They're not real students. No. And by the way, thank you, Kevin. And if you actually are paying the child benefit and housing for all these people, which you would do in the end if they got right to remain, then it's going to cost you more money. Will. I tell you.
False economy.
The University of Oxford and the University of Cambridge have not had any reduction whatsoever in the number of students at all. What does that tell you about how real this is? OK, we're going to keep with you. We're going to do That Was the Woke the World State after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a James Wales show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. I have to say, it's coming up in the adverts. Cheryl Cole, Cheryl Gianni Versace, Cheryl Tweedy. That woman changes her name every 5 minutes, doesn't she?
She has had about 10
She's
names.
learnt a lesson now. She's not changed it for a while.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If you marry Cheryl Gianni Versace, then what was her name?
I can't remember. It wasn't Gianni Versace.
Fernandez Vicini.
She didn't marry. Did she not? She didn't marry the last one, did she?
I don't know.
Payne?
But the one, are you talking about the Jeff
I don't think
Bezos?
she married him. She had a baby with him.
Liam
She had a
Payne.
baby with him, but I don't think she married him.
You're talking about...
She should have gone double barrel, Tweedy Payne, Gianni Versace.
Is this the Jeff Bezos wedding?
No.
Oh,
This is.
I'm getting confused.
No, you know that woman Cheryl? You know Cheryl, like she changed her surname at the time.
Cheryl, like...
She's now Versace.
She was Cheryl Cole.
Of like
No, she was Cheryl Tweedy, then she was Cheryl Cole, then she was Cheryl Hernandez Vicini, Gianni Versace, as I called it. Now she's Cheryl something, oh God knows.
I think she's back to a Tweedy now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Has she gone back to square
She's
with
back to
Khalid?
the maiden name.
Khalid's in Leicester.
Come on, Khalid.
Come on, you can do it, Khalid.
Hi, Andre. Are you okay?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, great.
What's going on, man?
What's going on? You tell me what's going on a daily basis. People are still being massacred in Gaza, West Bank.
Well, not really. I mean, it's not.
Not really?
No.
No.
They're not getting massacred. No. I mean, there's wars going on, man.
That's not a war. When people are being lined up.
Why are there people in there who aren't soldiers? You know, why are the UN calling for them to be put in Egypt?
Can I ask a question? Because Khalid, I mean, I'm critical, as you know, of some of what the Israeli Defence Force does. But one thing that I genuinely believe is we are in a position now where whatever's happened in the past, there's an opportunity to rebuild Gaza. What do you think should happen next? I'll lay my cards on the table. I think there should be a Jordanian or Egyptian or something, a governor from the Islamic world, to bring in new police, new civil servants, and basically just build it up. Like Germany with the denazification, it might take several decades to turn it into a democratic country. But I think they need somebody to come in who is a governor from the Islamic world, and as I say, perhaps like Mikhail Saakashvili of Georgia, sack all the police because they're corrupt, sack all the security services and bring in new people. So, Khalid, that's what I personally would do. Also, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd wall off Israel and say, we're not interested in you. I'd build a big port. I'd drop all of the taxes and regulations and be a trading nation next to Suez with trade deals with the entire Islamic world. What would you do, Khalid?
Look, first of all, there has to be accountability. First of all, there has to be accountability for what has happened over the past many decades, but more so since 7th of October. First of all, it's no big secret the Hannibal Directive was applied on the 7th of October. Many people were killed, hostages were taken. We know but now look, since the 7th of October.
How did you find that out? You got links in the Mossad?
Israeli soldiers themselves have documented it and stated it. Even now, it's no big secret, Ash.
But Khalid, do you not think? Look, I'm not belittling the fact that people have died. There is no doubt that the people that have suffered the most through all of this, whether it be the dictatorial government of Hamas, whether it be the incursion by Israel, whatever it is, there's no doubt the Gazan people are the people that have suffered the most. There's no doubt about that. But look, in the midst of going on about the fact that Israel are arseholes or whatever it is that people want to say, isn't there a bit where we need to say we can't go back to what we were doing before in Gaza? I personally think that we have proved beyond the shadow of doubt that foreign aid destroys countries. Gaza has received more aid than any country in the history of the world per capita.
Andre, when you lock off people, then everything that goes in or goes out of Gaza, every person that goes in or goes out is documented.
There used to be a totally open border with Gaza, and Israelis would go into Gaza, and the Gazans would go into Israel. They'd all go to the markets.
But we donated.
And then they gave everything to Hamas, and Hamas tore it all down and decided we got to kill all the Jews. That's basically what happened. If they could have just built it up and done what they did before, and everyone got on fine,
I don't understand how there's two sides of this who want to argue about who killed whom and who should be taken to the international court and whatever. And when you say the following thing, if I was the governor of Gaza, I would say I don't want to trade with Israel. I'm not interested. It's a comparatively small country, and actually, in terms of what business we could do with it, it would be limited. I want a big port, and I want to trade.
They could have had all of that in 2005, but they wanted to just dig terror tunnels.
With all due respect, that's ridiculous. Because
well, no, that is exactly what happened, actually, Khalid.
No. Land, sea, and air is under total control of Israel.
Well, why is that? Why do you think it's in control? Because they kept firing thousands of rockets. When they left in 2005, they took even the dead bodies out because they knew that. And they said, look, Israel don't want to live with nutters. They want to live with people peaceful like it was before. Everyone was getting on all right. Why would they want to have this war and have this trouble all the time?
Because of the pandemic that's always been there since 1948. You know that, Ash. Don't.
I don't know. There's no plan. They're not really bothered about taking Gaza. It's a tiny bit of land.
Hang on a second. I mean, I get frustrated about this, partly because my family is Northern Irish, and I understand how you can end up going round in circles with this sort of thing quite a lot. I genuinely believe that Gaza, because of its location, has a unique opportunity to become a global trading nation. Now, the reason I said to you earlier, Khalid, let's wall off Israel completely, is because that means you can't blockade the port because there's no way of getting from Gaza to Israel, right? So that was my argument for saying that, right? But for me, what it seems like we're going to do is we're going to pump a load of money into Hamas to rebuild Gaza on the face of it. And the real things that need to be rebuilt, civic society, democracy, independent media, independent courts, judicial oversight, proper select committees, genuine elections, those things that Gaza really needs, none of those things are going to happen. And all that will happen again is a big load of very, very wealthy warlords will start fighting with Israel again. And Israel will once again, like they always do, go completely over the top. Let Khalid quickly answer that, by the way. Sorry. Khalid, go for it.
Well, listen, it's very simple. Look, when I say simple, in the sense that, look, Israel, even Netanyahu, before 7th of October, in March, before October, he stated categorically, this is going to be the bigger Israel. In other words, without Gaza, without...
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense, because in '67 they won the Sinai. They had the whole of the Sinai desert region. Egypt, they gave it back to Egypt, for peace. That was about half the size of the country that they gave back. Gaza's nothing. They don't care about taking Gaza or not.
No, but Ash, it's very straightforward. Netanyahu, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, they stated categorically that we're going to conquer Gaza. This is our God-given gift to us.
All right, Khalid, thank you very much. I'm just gonna put this to Danielle. Khalid is a brilliant caller and very, very sensible. Look, not a word about rebuilding civic society and democracy. People are not interested. No. The Israelis are not interested. The Palestinians are not interested. The UN.
The goal of the Hamas and those lot is to get rid of the Jews. It's nothing to do about it with land.
The one thing they can all agree on is a genuine, vibrant, successful Gaza is not on the cards.
Yeah.
That's not what they want. That's not what they're after.
What they want to do is, if they had a choice
Let's just keep fighting. It was your fault. It was your fault. It was your fault.
No, ultimately they want to get rid of all the Jews. That is the catastrophe in there, and that's sort of a religious thing.
But when Trump turns around and says we could build an American-owned port, now remember, the Israelis ain't going to blockade an American port, are they? With American security and all this. So now it sounds mad. And they all dismissed it. But a port where Gaza could genuinely trade with the whole of the Mediterranean and the Suez Canal. Suez Canal is a pinch point. Virtually every piece of electronic equipment, every piece of fruit, every piece of consumer goods that come into Europe come through the Suez Canal. We saw that when the Evergreen was blocked it up. Not interested, not even remotely interested. It's all about let's take to the media. Netanyahu's
dragging up who did what.
Netanyahu's done this. Yeah. It's all about Greater Israel. Yeah. They are not interested.
No, they don't want a solution.
You don't want a solution, and I think actually
they want a final solution.
I think what this talks to, is I think there is a feeling in Israel which is these people are just a waste of time. We don't care, and I think there is definitely a criminal gang at the top of Hamas. I've said for a long time I don't believe the leaders of Hamas are terrorists. I believe they're thieves.
Well, actually, yesterday when they took the A truck in, the UN were delivering it to Hamas as usual, a clan, because in Gaza, the families are like hundreds of people. They're actually powerful armies, and they actually fought Hamas and took the A trucks because they know what's going on. So they're very weak now, Hamas, and who knows what's going to happen because there's a lot of other powerful forces out there.
I think what we will do is that we will pay to get the fundos back on their feet, and they'll invade Israel. That's what's going to happen, and Israel will flatten the place again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and round we go.
Yasmin is in Manchester. I don't know why she's called a new caller. Oh, I'll tell you what we're going to do, Danielle, because I know that you want to do this. I think what we should do is we should let you present this little bit, right?
And I think what you should do is
to that camera over there. You should say,
we'll chill out.
Yeah, we'll just say it. Do you want the crisps? I'll have the crisps.
No, because it's not the same if you don't call her the teenage witch.
All right, Yasmin, the teenage witch. You are through to Danielle.
Hi, Yasmin.
Hi, Danielle.
How are you?
You're looking fabulous, darling.
Thank you. It's because I'm not eating his
I
scones.
just like to spread a bit
Not
of
after you've told him about washing his hands.
Sorry, what, Yasmin?
I want to spread some positivity. We've
Yes.
only got one Earth, and let's all send positive vibes for peace.
Are your hands free,
all around
Yasmin?
the world.
Are your hands free? Can you use your hands, please?
Yeah, I can use my hands.
You're a bit blurry. You sound like
Yeah,
you're.
well, what it is I'm on my Moby tonight.
There we go. That's better.
That's a
Go
bit
on.
better, yeah.
Because I'm outside. So, what I'd like to say is,
Are you out? Are you out?
Are you sky-clad?
No, it's a bit chilly tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's not. It's warm here. It's cold there, isn't it?
I've just got my cloak on tonight.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, and I've got a fire burning in my fire pit in the back garden.
No, matron.
Very
And
good.
I'm throwing in sulphur, bay leaves, peppercorns, salt.
You said there's only one Earth. Well done.
berries,
You're making a
and I'm
minestrone.
making some black salt. Black salt.
I've heard about this black salt. Right? Is this is what you use in spells, isn't it?
Protective. It's very, very protective.
Okay.
What you do is you get a candle, a black candle, and you carve on the names of your enemies.
Oh,
yes.
Carve them upside down, and then what you do, you roll it in black salt, and you light the candle.
Oh, I don't like doing any enemy stuff.
What happens to the people? Do they?
I only do positive spells.
It is positive. It's returning all the crap back to those who've harmed you.
That they've
That's
wished on
so
you.
positive. And the other thing you can do, you can get a red candle if you want love to come in, and put some lady juice or male juice.
Pad.
man juice
Say-
on it, and put
say
it on the
what?
candle.
What's
You draw
lady
a
juice?
heart, You draw a heart.
What? Stop. Stop. No, stop.
Wait.
Stop.
So can
Lady
you-
juice, lady juice, and man juice. Is that what I think you mean?
Well, it's the juices of the female and the juices of a male.
Like with a
And
biscuit.
What you do is you write, "May my
just
true
squeeze it
love
out.
come." Listen, you get a red candle from the bottom to the top.
Is this if you want to find love?
Yeah.
Oh, if you start spurting
Okay.
all over a bloody candle, you'll never find love. You'll find injunction. That's what you'll find.
Doesn't Gwyneth Paltrow sell those?
Listen, do you want me to tell you now?
No.
Yeah, go on.
Right from the bottom to the top, may my true love come to me.
Okay.
Then you smear it in your lady juice, your love juice, put it in rose petals and lavender and burn it.
Meghan
To get
Markle
rid of the
sells
smell
those.
of the.
That's why Meghan and Gwyneth have got together.
You burn it for 9 nights.
Okay.
And that will bring in the pheromones
What's it
of
smell
your
like?
lady juice and your man juice. Mine's sweet. Your pheromones
Yours is
of your
green.
lady
Sweet.
juice and your man juice will go out into the universe and draw people towards you.
Right. Okay. So
And
this
the
is
other
this if you
thing
want
is-
love in your life.
If you want sex and love,
If you want love in your life,
That's what
committing
it's for.
onanism and then sticking it on a candle and burning it is not gonna. It's not gonna work.
Could you do a shortcut? No, I'm not going to say that.
Go on.
Can you use
Do
a
something
can you
with
use a
the
tea?
candle.
Can you use a tea candle?
Yeah, what you could do is you could literally just light the candle and say, well, let's just see if I can hit it.
Let me just say something. There's a lot of men and women that like candle wax on them, and they use that candle wax on top of.
Oh, I had that. I've got hairy back.
draw in
I had that.
energy.
It's no good.
Right. That draws in what? The energy. So
Yeah,
you
that
use your
draws
red
in the
candle and then you
energy.
pour it on your
Now,
nipples.
If you're a solitary witch and you want to meet other witches,
Yeah.
you burn a purple candle and you put mugwort on it and you put cinnamon on
Mugwater.
it.
What's mugwort? That
What's
sounds like someone
mugwater?
from Harry Potter.
Is purple-headed candle? That's a euphemism, right?
So purple for friendship,
Oh well, I'm aware.
red for love.
No,
Is she talking about your knob?
Right, start from the beginning. Let's start again. So you get the juice. No, it's all right. I think we. They got any premonitions for us?
Yeah, I prefer the premonitions,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I admit I hated. But the whole
Now you want premonitions.
The purple candle is to bring in spiritual people like witches and warlocks, right?
Okay.
Predictions for you.
Oh,
Anthony.
I'll tell you what. The Archbishop of Liverpool used to be called Derek Warlock. Do you reckon he was a warlock?
What is a warlock? Like a dog?
Like at the Archbishop of Liverpool, Derek Warlock.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's a wizard, isn't it?
By the way, Andre, I don't know why I've got this, but I've got to tell you straight away. There's somebody who's going to be, it's weird because you're sort of so powerful in your energy, but there's somebody who's going to be some kind of cyber bully to you. Thing is, dear, you do need to get a Ring doorbell, definitely. And
Andre does.
So watch for a male, a younger male, and the way you'll know who it is, Andre, he keeps licking his lips. Remember, I've said it. No. And he's a younger male, but he's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
A licky lippy.
A licky lippy wolf in sheep's clothing.
Is that the person that's going to
licky licky drippy drippy?
Does he wear cowboy boots?
Can I just say something?
Hey, I'll tell you what I was thinking of getting. I was thinking, you know, you get a coded entry for your house.
Yeah.
I love that.
Andre, listen, you go into a meeting where there's going to be a lot of journalists, like say.
Oh, that's a surprise in this building, isn't it?
No, listen. It's a private meeting. There's going to be about 8 to 10 journalists in it. And that is going to give you the key, an opportunity to something brand new around you to do with work. Oh, the cyber bullies come up again. Oh, by the way, Andre, Spirit want to thank you for being so charitable to somebody in the last 10 days.
Thanks.
No, they've seen your charity to somebody.
Oh, yeah, I've done that loads.
Have you done something nice in the last 10 days?
He does like for charity, he doesn't like to talk about it.
He has. He's helped somebody.
He made me a scone with his filthy urine-covered hands.
No, he's helped somebody, and that's been helping. By the way, Andre,
it was nice,
get some hand sanitizer wipes for your hands.
Yeah, you can do it before you make the scones.
Yeah, it's all right, Yasmin. We've got some here.
Luckily, I made my one tonight.
That's for you, though.
Hey, do you remember those surface wipes? And Vanessa Feltz thought they were for your face. And she did her face in them.
I saw Christine Hamilton do that with furniture wipes. She was like the man from the Cuprinol advert.
You've got
spilled the juice.
From abroad who's going to come and see you.
That was Phil.
What? Who's coming from abroad?
Someone's coming from abroad tomorrow.
A man flying in from abroad. Two men flying in from abroad that you're going to meet up with.
FBI.
So what?
Have you got some foreign visitors arriving?
Well, I've got a cousin, but she's female, so I mean.
Look, I can see 2 men, so I'm telling you what I see. I also feel with you, watch for the Gemini female. I feel as though she's got very, very attractive, but there's something really wrong with her. She's got really luscious lips. Again,
is there a lady around?
No, she will be. She will be.
Oh, she's coming.
I also feel around you, Ash.
Yeah.
I just got told watch your back at night going in your home. I know it sounds crazy.
No, I do live in a bad area, and people, look at me and they go, "Should we do him now?"
Somebody, I know it sounds crazy, but I've just seen somebody looking through your rubbish in your dustbin. So you've got to seriously shred everything that goes in the dustbin.
Yeah, I do.
The other thing I've got for you as well. Wow, you're connected to that wolf in sheep's clothing. Right, there's somebody around you who's going to try and duplicate you, feed off you, steal your creativity. You've had a couple of brilliant ideas.
This is all quite bad,
listening to them. And the other thing I get around that is a June rose. So that's happening imminently.
What does that
mean?
Hang
on, he's got to watch his back. There's someone going through his rubbish.
Yeah.
He lives in a rough area. There's a Gemini woman.
And
who's not
what's a
good
June
news.
rose mean? What's all that about?
Let me explain. The June roses are out now. It's in June, right?
Out now, roses.
The person who's stealing your idea has been listening to what you've been talking about. Because
that won't give any ideas, will it? Let's be totally honest.
He's had an idea, and it's really important. And there is a person creeping about outside his house, I can tell you that.
There often is,
Yes, it's Adam from the gallery.
TV licence man.
Have you just changed the window in your house, or are you thinking of changing?
No, there's not a prayer of him doing any maintenance in his house. He's well known.
No, I was going to put a bit of wood that's gone.
Something to do with the window.
There's something to do with the. Is she right?
Well, I mean, it's like a door with a window in it, and it's gone a bit. The rain's gone.
I like it when she's right.
Combination, you're right. Right, Danielle, this is really important for you. You need to
get a potato, stick a joystick in it.
Shut up, you! It's my turn.
Put some juice on it.
Yasmin.
Get the juice out.
Spurt on it.
Yeah. They always interrupt. They never let me speak to you, Danielle.
No, come on, put our microphones down. We'll have some crisps.
In your wardrobe, I'm looking at your shoes.
Okay.
So I feel as though with you, you need to give some of your clothes to charity. You're not going to want to, but you need to. Do you understand?
No, I know. I did what you said. I've started decluttering. I've got all bags ready to go at the front door.
You need to give them to charity. That's what I'm being told. The other thing around you, Danielle, is are you wearing your opal?
No.
I can't see you because I'm outside.
I'm not.
You need to wear the opal.
Okay.
To open doors.
Okay.
Stop thinking that it's negative. It isn't. The other thing around you, Danielle, is that you've had a spiritual presence around you when you're sleeping recently.
Yeah.
And you know it. You can feel them in the room.
Yeah.
Do you understand
that?
A succubus.
And I also feel around you, Danielle, as well. I keep looking at your feet. So they're telling me you need to lift your feet up sometimes to get them higher.
Okay.
Because I feel as though your toes is and your feet are swelling. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
No, but my big toenails have both fell off.
About a problem
What?
with your feet.
My big toenails have fell off.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Yasmin? The toenails have fallen off.
Let me explain. Your claws and your teeth are for protection. Danielle, I said to you, somebody's doing something against you because of the bay trees. Now listen to this. Get Egyptian eyes. You know what an Egyptian eye is?
Me evil eye.
We've heard of a Jack's eye. We've not heard of an Egyptian eye.
Listen,
I've got that. I've got one in me car. I've got one on me body. I've got one in my house. I've got two in my house.
Danielle, you need them on every single window pointing outwards of your house.
Oh, my word.
Every single window, I have. I have them on every window pointing out with the hand. You know the hand?
Yeah. The one on the hand.
You need to send this crap back through sending it to you.
Yeah.
But what I will tell you is the person who's been sending it to you is going to come up within the next 7 days and turn round to you and say the life is starting to fall apart. That's who the one is who's doing it against you. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, yeah.
It's a female.
Yeah.
And the other thing is she's connected, funny enough, for the showing records, she's connected to music. And the other thing is you're the only person who stood by her for the last 15 years. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Now you know who it is.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say to you is, did I tell you the thing about finding out how people, what they think about you?
No.
Right, okay. For everybody who's listening, this is the biggest spell you'll ever hear in your whole life. And it works.
Okay.
Right. Look at a person, put some sunglasses on, Danielle.
Okay.
Right. I don't care if it's morning, midnight, anytime. Put the sunglasses on.
Okay.
Look at a person's third eye in between the eyebrows.
Okay.
Not around the eyes, between the eyes.
No,
Looks like TJ Hooker.
Okay.
Go on.
I can't tell you, Danielle.
No, you can. So I've got my sunglasses on. I'm looking at the third eye.
Right, you look at a person's third eye. This is for anybody in the world who wants to know what people really think of them.
I don't know.
Right?
Do you really want to know?
And you say, tell me the truth, tell me the truth, tell me the truth. You think it, you don't speak it. If you're looking in the third eye, within 20 minutes, the thing that they're thinking about you will pop out of the mouths. And you know what'll happen? They'll be messed up. Because then you'll hear it from the horse's mouth. That's a Romany spell. It works. It works if you're in a job interview, whether you think your lover's having sex with somebody else.
What?
whether you think your friend is against.
Right.
Why the sunglasses though, Yasmin?
That's going to be a bit weird in a job interview. Yeah, you can't really put them on.
Yasmin,
I think you're weird.
Yasmin, can I say something to you? Right, this is right. This is not going to happen, but let's just check.
Go on, okay.
Let's just check. Right, I've just realised something. In the 1980s, my grandmother had a hotel in Morecambe, and she booked somebody to do everyone's reading called Yasmin.
Okay.
Right. It wasn't you, was it?
Why would you think it's Yasmin?
Because she had a Mancunian accent. She was a larger lady, and I don't know. Right.
You just feel like
Could
it's
it be
her?
you, Yasmin?
No.
Oh, thank God for that. That would have been fun. No, actually, I'm sorry that wasn't. Can you imagine it was her? Can you imagine we'd met when I was 8?
You know what? It's interesting. I don't get readings done because I had a reading done.
Andre, you've got to start telling the truth. You've seen spirit. You've talked to spirit. You know about
He
spirit.
drinks spirits.
And you've got to tell the truth.
Yes, but
Tell the truth,
Yes, but
Andre.
I've given up drinking now,
Tell
so I
the
don't talk.
truth,
I
Andre.
come here.
Listen,
I love you.
He talks to
Come on.
anyone. He talks
Come
to
on,
anyone when
tell
he...
the truth, Andre. Have you seen a ghost?
The only thing vaguely paranormal I've ever had was
Yeah.
when I was a little kid. I was quite religious. I was an
Okay.
altar boy and all this. I've got that
Yeah.
silver medal of St. Stephen, which I wore to Maya's christening, and nobody knew what it was. I was furious.
Go on.
Furious.
Don't get
Anyway,
sidetracked.
I used
Come
to
on.
pray in between 2 apple trees in my mum and dad's back garden, and every spring...
You said prayers?
Every,
Okay.
Yeah, and every spring and summer, a small rainbow would appear after I'd started doing it.
Seriously?
Yeah, that is genuine. I mean, obviously, it was also raining, right? So,
Andre, you have
Still.
also heard Sunday speaking when you've been waking up in the morning when you were younger.
I don't think so.
Did you hear voices
He's
when you were
blocked that- he's
little?
blocked
Did
that
you have an
out.
imaginary friend?
That was again when he was a choir boy, but he's blocked that out.
Did you have an imaginary friend?
No.
I
It was
believe
real.
Andre is psychic. I believe Andre is psychic.
Do you think he's psychic?
Totally.
Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. Don't
I
look around the
know
eyes
he's
right under.
psychic. I know he's psychic because he comes out with so many phrases in his show that are spot on for everybody. You wouldn't believe how he is.
I think there's a bit more to you than you like to let on.
No.
There is.
I'm a simple man in a dangerous world.
The other thing is, Andre, you should get naked, lie on a lawn, and feel Mother Earth moving beneath you. You'll love it.
I'm not doing. I'll do that in preference to the candle thing.
Where does he put the candle?
Yeah, that's right. No. Listen. I'd do a nudity thing. Right? You know, by the way, can I tell you, if you saw my third eye, you'd be shocked. It's an animal.
Is it?
Oh, I bet. It's like a tree trunk.
Baby's arm.
It's like a tree trunk.
That's not the third eye.
Andre, we should get together on Brighton Beach.
I'm not doing that because it's sexualised on Brighton Beach, isn't it? I'm willing.
And it's stones, it's not sand that I get stuck.
Oh, by the way, Ash,
Yeah.
you've got to make sure, I don't know if you have a car or anything, or a driver or anything, but you've got to make sure you organise it, because I feel as though somebody's wanting a car and it's not turning up. I know it sounds crazy, I've got to tell you that.
What do you mean it's not turning up?
So you've ordered a car, but it's not turned
I haven't
up.
ordered a car.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. With Chuck, the producer, and his bloody car booking skills, which are at best poor.
In the building where you are now,
Yeah.
you're moving rooms. You're moving
Well, that
rooms.
is true.
You're going higher up, I feel.
No,
we're on the
Or
top
it's a
floor.
there's a bigger room there for you. And
No, she is right.
Oh, yeah.
She is right. After they finished redoing TalkSport, they're going to redo this one.
Bit the same room.
Andre, I also feel with you, I know you don't often do it, but you need to check your bills online, because I feel you're overpaying something that's finished. And you've got to sort that out, because money's going out and you're not getting it. It's weird. It's like
It is
you're
weird.
being took for
That
it.
is.
Your money's going out.
That is about as wrong as it's possible to be. It's about as wrong as it's possible.
You're paying, Andre.
I'm not paying.
For anything.
It's to do with insurance or something.
Oh,
There's
no.
something you're paying and you're not. It's finished months ago.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'll
Right, check your life
I'll check my outgoings.
insurance.
But believe me, it's a small list.
But Andre, you said you were richer than God the other week.
Yeah, well, that's right.
You're
That's
not.
right, and that is the reason.
Andre says a lot of rubbish.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, I changed my bank account number just so things bounce, just to see what I paid for.
Now, in July, August time, I've just seen a big box with surprise written on it and a big sort of like extra bonus for you.
Well, you spoiled the surprise now.
But
I'm going to go on The
weird,
Price is Right.
It's not like you're working for it. It's like it's just been given.
Like that
It
Noel
could be
Edmonds
tax
programme.
back or something. It's good. It's good.
I love Noel
also
Tidy
feel
Beard.
For you, Danielle.
Yes.
And this is really, really, really important. I see you flying with a little square bag, right? You know, with makeup in and jewellery and whatever.
Yeah.
Do not let that out of your sight.
No.
Okay.
No, don't leave your bag in the airport because that normally ends well.
I don't know if it's a Louis Vuitton bag or something, but don't let it out.
Okay.
It's not. It's from
I do
Cheetham Hill.
always
It looks
travel
like
with
one.
my little Schmooey Vuitton.
Cheetham Hill.
It's a Cheetham Hill Louis Vuitton.
Cheetham Hill Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
I bought a shirt. I didn't know anything about fashion. I still don't. I bought a shirt from Cheetham Hill, and somebody said to me, "That is the worst Giorgio Armani fake I've ever seen."
Giorgino Armani.
Sergio Giorgini.
What is it,
Yes.
Yaz?
Go on, Yaz.
Danielle, you're meeting a tall African woman.
Oh.
She's going to be connected with fashion. She's wearing a white suit.
Okay.
And you're going to meet her in a
Grace
an
Jones.
Airport, private airport thing, or a spa or something. But she's African, very tall. I think she could be an ex-model actually.
Oh.
It is Grace Jones.
She's going to be introducing you and networking you to the higher ups, darling.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, well, that's Yasmin there.
Let's have
and we've got
it.
to
Let's
take
have it. Yasmin, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure.
By the way,
We'll try
apart from
not
the
to
smelly
let Andre
candles
do
thing,
his
we don't
smelly
know.
candle
Yeah.
thing.
I'm psychic, and I'm going to ask you to guess, as the audience, what happens next. Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Stays anyway.
That was the one that was. The prize for today for the best story is this lovely half-eaten bag
combo
of
mix.
crisps. And also the scone.
The
now,
one
that is
remaining
That is
scone.
not anything that Yasmin attempted to make earlier. That is
not lady juice.
That is jam and cream. That is not menstruate.
Why do you have to say that?
I thought I'd use the posh term. Menstruate.
Now, I've got some funny, fun stories
no,
now.
we've not given up. We've not given up on the prizes.
We've not.
There is also a selection of grapes.
Grapes picked with his own pea hands.
Yeah. So what you'll find is there are three small red ones.
grapes.
They're known as crimsons.
Okay.
And then there's the yellow ones of various sizes.
Have you just called those green grapes yellow? Are you colourblind?
Yeah, I did call them yellow. Actually.
You did?
Yeah, yellowy green.
They're green. Are they yellow to you?
They're green now.
No. Right, shut up. Anyway,
Okay.
that's a hamper of grapes, and what we'll do is we'll put it in the Dettol surface wipe thing.
Okay.
That is because you were complaining
Taste
about
it.
the standard of
To
my
be fair,
cleanliness.
I've watched you clean your hands, so I know your
And
hands are
that
clean.
can be placed in there. So
Yeah.
that's the
Grapes with toxic
hamper of
poisoning.
prizes. And what we'll do is
How lovely.
We'll put the prizes down there.
We'll need some of the crisps later.
So the camera,
what do they need to-
can see them if
Okay,
we get
and
that
what
right.
do we need to do
And that is
to
not menstruate.
win them? Okay,
Right. So what you have to do is you have to pick the best story.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter. We'll just pick a winner.
We'll just pick a winner. Okay.
It's not really competitive, this. It's like, have I got news for you?
Okay, bog standard Bognor, West Sussex Resort, is named the worst seaside town in the UK. With its traditional promenade, beach huts and arcades, and location as one of the sunniest spots in the country, Bognor Regis would appear to have it all. However, the West Sussex Resort has just been named the worst seaside town in the UK.
What is the definition of worst?
Well, apparently it's got categories include food and drink, value for money and scenery. But I will say this, I was nearly arrested in Bognor when I was 18 years old.
What
you know
did you
why?
do?
Indecent exposure.
What?
Murder. No.
Go on.
You juiced a candle in public and were arrested for it.
Shoplifting.
Do you know what? I was working for a... so, you know, there's a very famous holiday camp.
You made an adult entertainment film that was deemed dangerous. Right, and it's covered by the Tony Blair Pornography Act, where you're not allowed to injure yourself in a film.
Shut up!
Butlins.
Yes, so I wasn't working for Butlins, I was working for Schmutlins down the road.
Pontins.
Yes, it was a rubbish holiday camp where literally I was paid almost no money to wear a teeny tiny bikini and dance in front of very lechy dads. It was all very suspect. It was supposed to be a family fun entertainment place.
Times were good back then,
I
weren't
think you
they?
ended up knowing the guy. We had a conversation about
It
this.
was a nice, honest time.
How long have you been in TV and radio?
No, it wasn't.
Right, stop talking.
He had a funny name.
Stop talking to the producer because they can't hear the producer.
She got arrested for indecent exposure.
So my first ever job, I gets put in this caravan with this girl. She's in bed when I walked in and she's got a terrible, terrible fever and she's coughing and she's sweating. She's clearly very, very sick. Right. And they told me I was sharing a bed with her. You've seen how big a double bed is in a caravan?
Yeah.
I said, that's not happening. So I slept on a sofa the whole time I was there because I was not getting in bed with a stranger. Not just that, stranger who was clearly very sick.
Oh, come on, people do that in Pontins all the time.
But why did you nearly get arrested?
Then they made me wear this very, very, very small bikini that was inappropriate for any kind of show. That I was like, that's a thong. We were bending over.
I'd have loved that.
God.
In a thong in front
Sounds
of me.
fine.
I was 18. I was 18
It was a
years
different
old.
time back then.
That was not why I was there. I was told that we were doing family entertainment.
That is family entertainment.
It was entertaining half the family.
The straw that broke the camel's back was the day that I nearly got arrested for giving out their schmeeflets for rubbish Butlins. Outside Butlins, the police came.
Is that illegal to do?
I was 18 and they said, you have to move on. You cannot advertise for your holiday camp outside the main entrance.
Hang on a second.
Butlins.
Hang on a second.
So you know what I did? I took every leaflet and it was a heavy bag and I put them in a bin on a seafront and the girl I was with was really frightened. She said, what we're going to do? What we're going to tell him? I say, we tell him we give out every single leaflet.
Hang on a second. Think about this logically, Pontins. Think about this logically.
It wasn't Pontins.
All right.
Maplins.
It was close to like...
Yellow
All right. It doesn't matter.
Skegness Holiday Village or something.
Okay, but here's the point.
Go on.
Right. If you give out leaflets outside Butlins for a Butlins-like holiday, you're only giving it to people who are already on Butlins holidays.
Yes.
They've already booked.
This is the bit I didn't understand.
They've booked the holiday
They're
already.
not going to come in and go, oh, we've already booked 2 weeks in
but
Butlins.
maybe the year after.
But we're going to go to
maybe the year after they'll book.
Schmontins.
It's like standing in Larnaca Airport saying, would you like to go to Tenerife?
It was the most ridiculous thing ever. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. So I rang my mum crying. She come and pick me up. So, yeah, I think Bognor is just about right.
I've given out Conservative Party leaflets, and trust me, it goes down worse.
Oh, never again. Anyone says give out leaflets, no, I want
The police had to go at me because there was an MP called Sean Woodward who was the MP for Whitney in Oxfordshire, and when he was a Conservative MP, he said, even my butler has a butler, I'm so rich. So when he defected to Labour because he was a communist, he defected to Labour, in the Conservative Party, he was an absolute communist.
Go on.
Right, he was only
Everyone is a communist to you.
Yeah, they are, yeah. But particularly Chairman Mao, who genuinely is a communist. But anyway, so this absolute leftist defected to the Labour Party and became the MP for St Helens South, won the St Helens seat. So when he was out on his first walkabout, I came dressed as a butler and followed him round with the plate going, even my butler has a butler, sir.
Oh, right, okay.
And he tried to get the police on me. And I'm afraid I did tell the police to go away.
And you didn't get arrested?
I said, look, it's a genuine political campaign. He's out politically campaigning. We are here to highlight the disparaging ways talking.
And how old were you?
18.
Only him. The policeman pulled up at the front of Butley's and I just ran. I was literally, he didn't even finish
in your little bikini?
He was literally, no, luckily they didn't make me do that in a bikini. I was allowed to do that in my joggers. But he literally went, I'm really sorry, but you're not allowed to give out leaflets at the front of Butley. He hadn't finished his sentence. I'd literally, right, no problem, mate.
Do you know,
this is not worth getting arrested for.
You should have gone, and what offence am I being investigated for?
I was 18, I was very frightened.
You should have got your brief down on it, yeah.
Giving out leaflets in an aggressive fashion outside Butlins is not a crime.
The last words of George III were Burger Bogner. Did you know that?
By the way,
he said we're going to Bogner, and his last words before he died were Burger Bogner, and he died.
Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
Can I tell you this? I think some of the holiday resorts that we know in the northwest of England, where they've been filled with asylum seekers, are terrible. I mean, Blackpool, what they've done
takes ages to get on the roller coaster.
I used to be the chief of staff to the Member of Parliament for Morecambe, and Morecambe is beautiful. The houses are brilliant, and they've wrecked the place.
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, Blackpool's been ruined. Blackpool's
okay, are you ready? You're going to have to prepare yourself because this is a shocker.
Sorry to interrupt you, but.
Yes.
It's often said, I don't know if this is true, but Geoffrey Thompson, the man who owned Blackpool Pleasure Beach, it's rumoured that the way he died was he made his father of the bride's speech at his daughter's wedding and sat down and died in the dessert. Just face forward into.
But it's not family owned anymore. But it was for a very long time. But it's not now.
Once my grandmother was at a wedding and she was talking to this woman, and then she looked again and said something, and the woman didn't say anything. She was dead. Imagine sitting next to someone at a wedding, and she'd managed to finish all her meal before she died.
I remember.
Every cloud.
I'd like to die with a full belly.
I've always said that. When I was watching that film Sixth Sense, where they're going, I see dead people all the time. They don't know they're dead. And I went, yeah, I've been to Maidenhead Conservative Club as well. Anyway, more next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
So how can you contact Yasmin has been a question that has come up. The other thing I've seen is she did an advert for Seacrest Crisps, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Did she?
It was filth.
Yeah, it was filthy.
Right, that was the woke that was with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Danielle Nichols, and Danielle is going through the wokest story of the week. Come on,
Okay,
Danielle.
shop for lunchboxes, exclusive, thinner of fudge is the...
Thinner of fudge.
Is just enough to give your kids a treat. Okay, and very good to eat. We'll get in trouble for singing that. Is it advertising?
No, we'll get a big box of Cadbury's fudges.
What was that? Something means a bit. Tree-ball means a bit stronger. Stick 'em up your bum and they last a bit longer. Hey.
So Cadbury has
but they
shrunk.
taste different.
This is no surprise. Sorry, my makeup's all over the desk. This is no surprise. Cadbury has shrunk the multi-packs of fudge, but kept the price the same. Surprise.
But it's an easier job for the fudge packers, isn't it?
Oh, okay. The chocolate giant has reduced the number of bars from 5 to 4 while still charging you £1.40.
Right, here's the one that I've complained about loads of times. the instant noodles where the packs are now the other way round.
The Maggie noodles?
Yes. There used to be 5, one behind each other. Now they're side on, there's only 4.
Very cheeky.
Oh, I'm furious.
Very cheeky. Well, now, in fairness, do you know that was going on a lot? So I didn't know this, but a lot of like the Poundland, the smaller shops, the Icelands of this world, they do sell smaller products.
Yeah,
so
they
you
do.
feel like you're getting a deal.
Yeah, they do. So I used to work for a major cosmetics manufacturer.
You did not.
I did.
You never worked for a major cosmetics fan.
I did.
This is... Oh,
do you know what I did for a living?
Who did you work for? Go on.
Well, what I did with them,
Go on.
They had a data analytics team and they were all the maths class and they needed to be taught how to public speak. So that's what I did.
Oh, okay.
But what they did was they said in the discount shops, we've got different size.
Yeah, they have different size products. Yeah.
Oh, giving it away there.
I know.
But so they go like, that's a smaller tin. Actually,
Yeah.
I think VO5 is Procter & Gamble. That didn't
Well,
work
now
for them.
your fudges, you've only got 4 in a pack instead of the little 5-pack. I bet they've done the same with Freddos, haven't they?
They've done it with all the different biscuits. Or sort of, they're all changing the packaging.
They say that it's missing in a ban. Apparently, these are no longer meant to go in. Oh, hello. These are no longer meant to go in kids' school lunchboxes because there are 5 days in the school week, not 4. The price hasn't changed. I see, right? So people were getting them for a lunchbox. And then you were thinking, right, I've got one every day.
Right, so...
I love it. I like a finger fudge.
I love
like
it, yeah.
They're underrated.
Yeah, Yasmin does as well.
Yeah, they're nicer than you think.
It's very
When
small
at
and
Christmas,
neat.
when you get the little selection boxes at Christmas,
Lovely, yeah.
you got a nick
Full of Cadbury.
Do you know what I like?
Go on.
Right, they didn't have it in Ascot
There's a
this
half
year,
a glass of
but
milk in every pound
They used to
of
have
the chocolate.
at Ascot, they used to have Magnums, and they put the Magnum in liquid nitrogen, so it was minus 100 or whatever it was, like not just frozen, and then they dip it into chocolate, dip it into another type of chocolate, dip it into like nuts and all this sort of thing.
Oh.
You could, yeah.
There was that terrible story where they used to put drinks
What's that got
in
to do
like
with fudge, by the way?
liquid nitrogen, and this girl had it, and she had to have her esophagus removed.
Her name is Gabby Scanlon.
What did that have to do with the fudge?
Gabby Scanlon drank liquid nitrogen, you know, the ice crystal
that
things.
also has nothing to do with
froze
fudge.
her. It froze her stomach, and it smashed.
And they had to remove it.
Genuinely happened.
That genuinely happened, and we were working on it because she lived in Morecambe. And here was the funny bit: we were going to get her on all the Sunday TV shows, but she sold a story exclusively to the Mail on Sunday for about 20 grand.
Well,
and do you know when in media, when people stop phoning you on a Thursday, you know full well they've sold the story to the Sunday paper.
Do you know what though? What has that again got to do with fudge?
Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Next story.
No, you shut up. Okay, this one I am going to get behind, mainly because the producer's nickname for me is Judith Chalmers. Fees for carry-on airline luggage may be banned. Now, I'm not going to lie.
Carry On film?
Carry on,
airline luggage.
I've got 2 nicknames: Ryan Scare or Ryanair. Because Ryanair is horrible.
Yeah, but you get a good value from it.
This is going to make me... No, but you say that. They're horrible. Holidaymakers are soon to avoid the frustration of paying extra fees for carry-on luggage at the boarding gate thanks to the proposed changes in EU airline rules. The EU Parliament Transport Committee has approved new regulations that would grant all passengers, this is just so good, the right to carry a handbag or small suitcase weighing up to 7 kilograms at no extra cost. Have you seen all this swizzing that they're doing at EasyJet where they're saying it doesn't fit in the... Have you watched it on TikTok?
They put it in a thing, don't
and
they?
they put it in and they say it doesn't fit and they're like the video on it going, it is clearly inside the... It's because they get commission on every bag that they charge for.
Have you seen those
gate.
coats you can get which has got masses of... It's basically like a case because you can...
You can just get a coat and fill all your pockets up.
But it's special coats just for it.
Well, I know a lot of people who carry a cushion, a pillow, and then the pillow's full of clothes. Instead of like...
Or you wear 10 pairs of pants, 3 pairs of shoes.
I've been there, I have done it.
Shoes on your hands.
I have done it and I've been like sweating because I've got like a cardigan and then a jumper and then a coat and then... But it tickles me because it does really, really annoy me. The proposals hit budget airlines including Ryanair, EasyJet and Wizz Air, which charge extra for larger cabin baggage. If implemented, the rule would apply to domestic EU flights and international flights connecting the EU with non-member countries, including the UK. It still requires approval from at least 55 95% of EU member states, though. Spain has expressed its approval for the proposed changes, but Airlines for Europe, which represent the major carriers, warns that the new rule could disrupt operations and lead to increased ticket prices for passengers. My husband's reaction to that straight away when I said, ha ha ha, they're going to have to let us take our bags on. He said, they'll just make the ticket dearer.
Right, we've got to take a little break in. We'll have another story right after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. What else have we got, Danielle?
Well, we've got the fact that all of the Kardashians, 5 of them in fact, which almost never happens, are at Jeff Bezos' wedding in Venice.
Wow, yeah.
Now, we were talking about his wife. Have you seen his wife, Lauren Sanchez?
No.
We were talking about
I've seen a
the
little
change
bit.
in her face.
Oh yeah, that's that.
Since being with a
And she used to look nice when she hadn't had anything done.
I know, but it tickled me because I've actually got friends who can't go through the electronic passport control because their faces have changed that much.
Well, shouldn't you have to change your passport if you change your face?
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
That'd be the rule, wouldn't it?
I don't think you do. You know. I think they just like pull you to one side and go.
We've got somebody who works.
Lizzie Cundy's got 8 passports. No,
I can't believe you just said that. But she showed me a picture, and I went, "Wow, who's that?" And she went, "Me." I went.
Well, who is it?
She's never had a.
You can't say that and then not tell us.
She's never had anything
Lizzie
done.
Cundy.
She's never had anything
but
done.
all right. But speaking of, do you know what happened with me? So my passport picture gets to Portugal one of my many times I'm going to Portugal, and the lady stands for ages, right? And she's like this. And I'm thinking, have I done something wrong? And she's looking and looking and looking. My mum's like, looking, what's going on here? And then she looked at me and she went, it is you, but on this picture you are very fat.
Should have gone. Oh, and your face is you have skin that would make General Noriega look like Celine Dion.
She took me by surprise, and a little bit of me was complimenting because I thought, well, I must look thinner than my picture, so that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it was a weird compliment.
Very nice.
Your waistline would embarrass what you call it would embarrass Big Daddy.
Well, you're doing rubbish because you took too long insulting her.
Yeah.
You'd have lost.
Yeah.
She'd have gone, for God's sake. Anyway, this might be for you.
Normally
This
I'm
next
good at
story.
insults.
Yeah, this next...
Hey, I'll tell you the best insult I've ever had.
Go on.
I had a friend of mine who was an MP, right, and his wife thought he was going to lose, so she kicked him out before the election, but he actually won. And she goes, I'll call him Stephen.
Okay.
She goes, Stephen, I understand that you've got a 22-year-old girlfriend. He was 40 at the time. And he goes, yes, that's right. And she goes, she's only after you for your money. And he goes, that's right, Helen. It's like your boyfriend. He's only after you for my money as well. That's a classic.
I like that.
That's a classic. isn't
Right,
it?
this might affect you though. Porn sites are bringing in face scans and ID for viewers. Anyone accessing pornography will have to submit their ID or have their face scanned under a crackdown.
Aren't porn sites a bit boring?
On children accessing X-rated sites. That's how they're supposed to stop kids doing
See,
it.
you know, my mum believed it should be illegal for over 18s to buy porn. Over.
Oh, really?
She believed that teenagers it was acceptable to buy porn.
Well, she
on.
thought so it's okay because you experimented.
Yeah, she basically felt that any adult that accessed pornography was weird, but teenagers were allowed to do it.
Do you know what I feel?
I think that's a
feel
reason
it's
why.
weird because our childhood was basically just the catalogue, weren't it? That was like
occasionally you go in the woods and you'd find
in the catalogue.
You go in the woods and you'd find a tree and it would have an old a copy of Razzle. You know, a very 1986 Razzle.
At my school,
nothing left to the imagination.
At my school, we couldn't see anything. They hadn't shaved. The tree, the bush. But anyway,
in the bushes.
But what used to happen at my school was when the fifth years left, they bequeathed the pornography collection.
It was like passed down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was like these magazines, which had originally cost 25p in about 1967, every year had been sold for £1. And if those girls had received royalties, they would have been incredibly
it's been.
But no, it is true. I think that it's a difficult one because I've had to have that conversation with my teenage boys about porn. I think
about
that
buying
it's
film.
So accessible now.
Yeah,
that I think they're gonna. But however, I mean, I don't think this kind of thing's going to work.
It's never going to work.
It's not going to work. It just seems ridiculous. Apparently, it includes Pornhub, the most visited adult site in the UK, and a dozen others. Ofcom says there are 13 sites that are happy to be named at this stage and represent a broad range of pornography services right across the UK.
The reality is, a company like Pornhub doesn't give a toss about banning kids because they're making that much money. They're not bothered. Anyway, Danielle Nichols, thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you for having me.
Right. She's a new member at Royal Ascot.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. So you did do something charitable.
It wasn't a week ago. Yeah, it was a week ago.
It was.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And I got your husband in as well by claiming that his application was lost in the post.
Shut up!
Anyway, we'll be back with all your calls, more stories.
They're not watching.
Yeah, in a couple of minutes. Stay there.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, let's get straight to your calls. It's Cinderelius Maximus from Michigan. Cindy, you're on Talk.
Hello. Gentlemen, hi.
Howdy doody.
I'm so sad. I just missed Danielle.
She left deliberately.
Yeah, she saw you were coming on.
Yeah,
She knew it was me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta get the F out of here. I wanted to tell her I love her, and it's so nice to see her back.
That's why she left.
I
She was
missed
concerned you're a
Saturday.
stalker.
I missed the Saturday show. I say
bring it back. It's just not the same. My weekends aren't the same. And
We need it back, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. More than ever. Jesus. But yeah, I wanted to call for some advice. I've had a rude awakening, and I need some advice, guys.
You called for advice from us.
Tell me like it is. Okay. I, with my friends, I purposely said I don't want to talk politics because I know they're completely lefties.
Yeah.
Completely
Yeah, man.
full blown all the way. So I don't talk politics. But
You should
they
cut them
can't
off
force
properly.
it.
Just cut them off, man.
Well, no, they cut me off.
Well, you've done all right then.
Cut me because I did some posts on Facebook, just me and my shirts and stuff, and I also support Kelly J. Keane. I guess that didn't go over very well, and I've been supporting her for like a few years, and no, they can't. They're not having it. The politest thing one, and these are friends of almost 30 years, guys. Just hurts.
Yeah, but I mean, were they your real friends? Were they? What were they? You know.
What you should do is you should donate. You should find their addresses, then you should donate $10 each, but get their addresses wrong. So the Donald Trump postcard says, "Thank you for donating to the Donald Trump campaign." Goes to neighbours of the people. So say they live at number 5 and the name's Jerry Smith.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something like that.
Jerry Smith at number 7, so they know.
And these.
The other thing that you could do, if you donate to a pro-abortion organisation, that normally goes down particularly badly with the neighbours.
Yeah, and these are people, I want to tell you, mind you, almost 30 years ago, I fed and I housed. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, with their views, don't you find?
Penny.
But don't you
If
find
you
that?
were down on your luck,
Yeah.
I'd let you stay with me. I'd help you.
Yeah,
And you turn around, and because I voted for somebody, they just dropped me like I.
But don't you feel you're better off without them if they're that sort of person?
Yeah. And you know what they said? The kindest one said to me, he said, "I feel we've grown apart." What? I said, that was how polite to say, "F you, Cindy. You're gone." Yeah. So, and what I want
Don't
to
you
say
feel
about
liberated now, though? Don't you feel liberated from these buffoons?
I do, and I feel better, and thank you, because I've been brokenhearted for about a couple weeks. I've been really broken because it hurts.
You're better off without them, man.
Long, but I want to say, and also about Ken, I want to say, this is how I remember Ken. I love Ken, but I want to say I remember Andre asked him, and this is just a hypothetical, when your ally who got arrested, she's a pro-Christian campaigner, and she got arrested, and I'm so sorry I forgot her name, but I
Lois
love her.
McClatchy Miller.
And Lois,
right,
yes,
Lois,
and you asked Ken, would you help me drive a car?
Yeah.
And he paused.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say on that. That made me go, oh.
I think the thing is with somebody like Ken, and Ken, look, I think Ken is useful, but I
I didn't
said
like
this.
him, but I would have driven that car. I've
said this before. The purpose of street preachers is not to spread the word of God; it's to prove that they're better people than you. That's really what they're after doing.
All right, yes, that's what Ken's doing.
I put my money where my mouth is.
Because if you agree, what you notice with Ken, I like Ken very much. If you agree with him, he takes offence. Because nobody's ever said to him, "I'm as good a Christian as you," and when you say that to him, he rails against it.
And if you disagree with him, he calls you the Antichrist, so you can't win.
Yeah,
And you tend to find that. And what you tend to find is if you go up to preachers in the streets and you go, oh, brilliant that you've come here preaching the word of God. I'm a Christian myself. They'll go absolutely crazy. They'll be even more angry because the thing is, because from their perspective, what's happening is their position as a better Christian than anybody else is being challenged.
And they're there to convert people, and you can't convert the converted.
I'm not a fan of telling people that they're going to HELL. I'm not a fan of that because I believe people can be good people.
Can I ask you, just to change the subject, this birthright citizenship, which I think is utterly ludicrous, just to explain to the British audience and indeed the European audience what has happened. Donald Trump has said the following, right, this idea of a natural born citizen, this definition, anybody born in American territory is an American, and anybody born outside American territory is not a naturally born American, is obviously stupid. We have the situation in the United Kingdom where you have two American diplomats who are married, one gets pregnant, and they have to have the baby in the embassy or fly over to America because the child is not entitled to be president of America because they say they're not naturally born Americans because they weren't born in America. Conversely, the other side of this is, if you illegally enter the United Kingdom and in the period it takes to deport you, you have a baby, that baby is deemed an American citizen, even if you were there illegally. What Donald Trump has said is this, right, okay, you have to have two American parents to be an American citizen, or what, you know, you can't just, it's not about where you're born, right? If you are two Mexicans and you have a child in the United States of America, congratulations, the child is Mexican. The Supreme Court has upheld his right to do that. Cindy, it's eminently sensible, that, isn't it?
It is sensible, but it's been very tricky because there's a whole tourist industry that is based on come here specifically to have your baby. Specifically,
we have that here because of the National Health Service.
But what happens if I now say I was married and my wife was heavily pregnant? Imagine I went to America, right? And I'm subject, I don't know if you know this, Cindy, but I'm subject to the visa waiver scheme. That is to say that any British national who's not a convicted criminal, which neither of us are, doesn't have to apply for a visa. You can just come in and
you have to fill in that ESTA form.
Yeah, that landing card, and you do the ESTA in advance.
Yeah.
Fine. But if I turned up with my wife who's heavily pregnant for a 1 month holiday, what happens? Because if the baby was born in America...
I thought they didn't do that, because I remember seeing stories in America where a kid who was brought up in America was actually from El Salvador, even though he was born in America, and they, you know, exported him at 15,
here, if what they're doing at the moment is anybody born on the United States of America territory is a US citizen. That is not the rule.
Automatically.
It used to be you couldn't play for Yorkshire Cricket Club if you hadn't been born in Yorkshire.
But the polarization is just criminal, guys. It's criminal.
But equally, when Donald Trump came in this first term, Barack Obama had brought in this rule, which was that that rather than, if somebody comes over illegally, the offence lies with the adults, not with the children. So you have to lock up the adults, but the children do not get sent to prison. There were only two countries in the world that put children into prison because their parents had committed a crime. That was North Korea and the United States of America. When Donald Trump came in, he said, I am not putting children in prison. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to comply with the law. And they were going, Donald Trump is breaking up Mexican families. No. You commit a crime, you will be incarcerated and prosecuted for it. But the child doesn't get incarcerated for your crime. Yeah. It's a basic principle that anybody with any sanity would understand.
Yeah, and if you're an American citizen, like if I were to commit a crime, right? Let's say I have children too, and I commit a crime, they're going to take the children from me because they're not going to put them in jail with me.
That's absolutely correct. So if you were a single mother,
take them into custody.
Yes, if you were a single mother, the children would be taken into what we call foster care. I don't know what you call it in America.
Foster care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Child Protective Services. Yes.
Absolutely right, but the point I'm making is so I used to defend Donald Trump on Sky News during his first term when I was a contributor on Sky, and actually people used to turn up unprepared to debate me. Because what would happen is, defending Donald Trump is actually incredibly easy. Because what would happen is, Donald Trump would stand up and say something inflammatory. But actually, if you listen to what American negotiators were then doing on his behalf, it was entirely sensible. And so all I used to do was watch the press conference, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah. I can see that, and I sure as heck wouldn't want to debate you, Andre. You're fierce.
Oh, stop!
Stop it! What's going on anyway? What's going on in California at the moment? Because that was all going crazy. They're trying to seize it.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan, so I try to not
ignore that
really
lot. Yeah, and New York apparently is getting a crazy mayor. You know, very
well, I mainly
socialist mayor, otherwise known as.
I know more about what's going on in your country than I do right now in mine.
Yeah.
But actually, if you are an American,
this is a testament to talk, because it's so entertaining.
But don't because America is more of a continent than a country. I know it's not a full continent, but aren't you more interested in what happens in your town, in your state, than you are at the federal level anyway?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say so. But I'm happy. I have my health insurance. I have two. I'm lucky. I have two health insurances, so I'm very good.
What do you mean two? What have you got on from two different jobs or something? Why have you got two?
Well, I have my husband is retired military.
Yeah.
So I have that, and I'm already disabled because I'm a liver transplant patient.
Yeah.
So I have the state, and then I have as a backer the military. So for life.
Yeah.
And so I don't even have to pay.
Well, your military look after your ex-servicemen and their spouses.
Oh, we do, and I wish in England you would do the same.
No.
So a lot of young people will join the military because it gets them free healthcare for life for them, their wife, and their children when they have them. Is that right?
What else? Yes, and you know what else they got us?
Oh.
We didn't have to pay a down payment on a house.
Oh, really?
We own this house. Yes, no down payment.
No deposits, as we call it.
No down payment. Yeah, no deposits.
But how much is like a decent? How much is a 3-bedroom house in where you live?
On your street?
I have about 5 bedrooms. I have 4 bathrooms.
Yeah.
I'm on a canal, and we only pay. Now this is dollars, not even UK money.
Yeah.
This is $1,150 about.
About 800 quid or something.
A month for the mortgage.
For a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house in Michigan.
Yes, and I
Put
have
your hands up for Detroit.
I have 2 decks. I have 2 decks. Okay.
2 decks. Well, you should. The wheels of steel. You got to have 2 so you can mix it.
So it's beautiful. I'm on the water, and it's quite peaceful. I mean, it gets a little boring, I will say, but boring is good because.
Do you have canal boats like we have canal boats? People live on canal boats. Do you have that sort of thing?
We get boats like who are just trotting along. The water just
chugs along the
sailing.
water.
Just sailing. I don't know about living.
All right. Yeah, well, you don't really need it in America. Places are cheap because you've got so much land.
The only problem is, unlike in Britain, Cindy, I'm going to tell you a shock. In Britain, if your house burns down, very often it's worth basically the same amount, even though it's a ruin.
Sometimes worth more because you can build a better property.
Yeah, because you can rebuild it. Sometimes burning down your house increases its value.
Yeah.
Isn't that mad?
And if you can't get planning permission, that's what some people will do. Obviously, that's highly illegal.
I count my blessings. I'm very, very lucky. But, we did work hard for it in terms of credit score. And doing good with.
Well, I mean, also serving your country, whether you're in combat or not, is not your decision. But your husband served the country. Anyway, let's leave it there because my voice is giving way, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some strepsils, and Ash is going to come back and present a short segment with the calls whilst I try and deal with this problem. Simply because I wanted to come in because James Whale was ill, but in reality, I think you can hear I'm becoming increasingly throaty. Back in a moment.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, man, it's Flash Ash in for James Wales, who was on earlier. Andre's gone out. He's got a bit of a throat problem. So it's, well, let's just go to Luke in Bromley. Give us a ring. 03444991000. Luke.
Morning. We're all dropping like flies, eh?
Yeah, everyone's dropping like flies, man. Yeah. What's going on, Luke?
Well, a few things, really. First thing, of course, the big thing of the week has been about dropping PIP or reducing the amount of benefits and things.
Only for new claimants. The old claimants are going to carry on as normal and cost us, billions of pounds. Obviously, some of them are legitimate and some swinging the lead. I mean, 7.7 million people are not are getting some either universal credit or benefits out of a working population of about 35 million people. So, I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
It is getting ridiculous, but I think probably we all know people who are on it who should be, and we all know people who shouldn't be, perhaps.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got your own adversities. You've got Parkinson's, haven't you? But you've carried on. You've actually started quite a big business and thriving business. It spurred you on.
Until probably early part of the year, if you take any benefits ever, until I found that the only way I can get off my ULEZ charge and where we live is by having benefits. So I thought, oh, well, do that.
Might as well have them,
paying 270 quid a month. But, I just get them in and sort of whatevers. But the thing is, I do wonder if people can, if they're given a bash, and if they're on it, then maybe they should be checked more often, because it's not too hard to work out if they've got, the issue or not.
Yeah.
That should get rid of a fair few.
It must be quite easy to find out, yeah. And they give it for, different conditions now, whereas it used to be you were actually disabled, you get it. Otherwise, you've got to get out and get a job, and it can be good mentally for you.
Of course it can. Mentally, very good. It's good medicine. It's also been good for me. As I say, I took it on myself. I don't want to keep going on about the story, but I took it on myself to basically start a business, and I thought I can do better for myself than what I can do just as a number to receive a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Sit downstairs on the couch.
Well, it actually concentrated your mind in a way. It did the opposite of what other people.
And it inspired many people around me, for sure. Absolutely, it's a big thing. And on the back of that, I get a few bits and bobs now, just because basics, PIP, whatever. But I think everyone can make something of themselves some way. They can either work from home or they can... But it does take other people around to help you, You can't do all by yourself.
Well, no, of course not. But obviously there's a lot of people who do actually need the help, but there's not the funding there because it's being spread too thinly on people that don't really need it.
But also it's what's needed to start a business. Maybe they need a bit of business coaching, a bit of, budgeting, a bit of help with this and that, bookkeeping, accountants. If you offer some of those things, they don't cost a lot of money to the government if you could get professionals on board.
Exactly. If you get one person off the dole, they'll start contributing tax. Each one is at least a net benefit of £20,000 to the Exchequer.
There you go. And the benefits that come by, even if they just earn enough to pay, it's self-relief and stuff. You talked about Y2K. Remember that thing? You talked about that last night.
The Millennium Bug.
And and you gave a clever scenario of what you did. You put the dates back. Well,
I just put the date back.
I knew one thing that went wrong.
What?
My dad's watch went wrong. He had a calculator watch. Remember the calculator watch?
Oh, yeah, I used to have one. I had a Casio thing, the calculator.
So my dad had one of those, and that stopped working on the night of Y2K.
So what did he do? Did he put the date back again?
No, the screen just turned off. He couldn't.
Did it? We should have just got... Yeah, I suppose you could in those, yeah. Well, no, you could set the watch to just back a few years. He should have done that.
Yeah, in hindsight. But I was actually in Kenya at the time working street children, and I deliberately dated my return before the Y2K happened because I thought it was going to happen.
Everyone was panicking. Nothing happened. They were going, we're going to buy a tin of beans, open it, and there's dog food in it. And it never happened. I had a problem in a studio. I couldn't record audio, and I'd put the dates back, and it worked.
I know, you're top man. But even the military, they were buying generators and stuff to run the bases and stuff because they thought it was going to.
It was a massive money spinner for some people, wasn't it? All this Millennium Bug stuff. But you could hire engineers and programmers and.
Fear comes in, and if it's not that, it's a collapsing economy. If it's not that, it's sort of like a flu.
It's always got to be a bogey, man.
There's got to be something, hasn't there?
Yeah.
So what do you reckon is going to happen with the old Trump sort of legacy? Because I'm beginning to warm to him quite a lot, I'll be honest.
Sorry, the what? The Chancellor what?
Trump. President Trump?
Oh, I think he's doing all right, isn't he? I mean, if you look at the legacy media, they're all saying, "Oh, he's getting every." Well, actually, it's turning out all right so far, I think. And he's one of the only politicians that actually come in and does what he said he was going to do.
Correct. And I think the next one will be Farage. I think he will also do what he said.
Well, we'll see about that. But I mean, yeah, maybe. But I mean, the thing is, what they liked about him the other day, where he used the F-bomb, didn't he, about Iran and Israel, and people like that transparency. That other people going, "Oh, he can't say that," but people, that's because they're out of touch. People like honesty and transparency, and that's why they like talk. That's why they like the
station. The irony of it is the people writing the stories probably do exactly what they're writing about these people would do in public, you know. They do it in private, and there's quite a bit of a, you know, is it a bit of a sort of like a, I don't know, are people, you know, say one thing and do another sort of thing. I think there's a bit of that that goes
exactly. There's it's all virtue signalling, isn't it?
Hypocrisy, yeah, sure.
It's hypocrisy. Anyway, thanks, Luke. Let's go to William in Ayrshire. William.
Hi, how you doing, Ash?
All right, man. What's going on?
Not a lot, mate. I don't know what to do with this two-year Starmer. To me, he's going to be done as a bloody traitor. He cares more about immigrants than he does about anybody else.
Well, also, you know, when he was asked about does he support Davos or Westminster, he just, without hesitation, he went Davos.
He doesn't. He can't answer a question. When Boris was in power and at Prime Minister's questions, he couldn't answer a question then. He's been there nearly 11 months and he still can't.
He's not a politician. I mean, he only joined the Labour Party a couple of years before he became an MP. It was just, there was no one in the Labour Party. They thought, well, let's get this guy who was head of the CPS, and we've ended up with someone who's not even got any political or leadership qualities. It's an embarrassment around the world, and he's totally destroying this country, even worse than the last 14 years before it.
Listen, I'm not being funny, Ash. He'll be done as a traitor, and see this grooming gang carry on. That stops at him. And there's going to be superintendents and everything, and the cops.
Yeah, but whatever happens, it'll be a whitewash, that investigation, and the main top people, nothing will happen to them. There'll be a few sacrificial...
I don't think so, because the public have had enough of this nonsense.
Well, I hope so.
How can a human rights lawyer ever be in charge of the public prosecutions, never mind the blooming Prime Minister?
Well, yeah, and also, you know, we've got the Attorney General, Hermer, making decisions that are not in this is a country's interest, and he's proud of it, what he's doing. Giving away the Chagos Islands. If we still had the Chagos Islands, America wouldn't have had to fly 18 hours in their B-2 bombers. They could have done about 6 hours. They had to have about 30 refuelling. So it's already having a bad effect. And Starmer's saying China, you know, they're not worried about this. They're not happy about this. Immediately they get the Chagos Islands. China thank, you know, they thank Mauritius, and it's unbelievable.
It's honestly, it's just getting ridiculous. And I say, you get me started on the immigrants. I mean, in Glasgow, there's literally hundreds of them all running about with these Deliveroo bikes and Just Eat. No insurance, no licence. They're all illegal. They're staying virtually rent-free for £300 a week.
Well, they are, and they're getting paid. Yeah, they're making some up to £1,000 a week, aren't they? I mean, what's going to happen in Scotland? Because we heard yesterday a caller came in and said, well, there's going to be a split vote. You're going to end up with the SNP.
No chance. No, they'll never get in again. No, after that. I mean,
yeah, but if there's a vote split, they might do. Like, this is how Keir Starmer got in. Only 1 in 5 of the voters voted for him.
Swinney is worse than Nicolia, believe me. He's a clown, an absolute clown. And he's been found out big time.
Yeah, but
and as for useless, his previous man.
Yeah, but you had Jimmy Cranky as your leader.
See what Nigel said about Sarwar. It was absolute truth. See if you go into YouTube, Ash, you'll see it. And he made the same speech that useless did about white this, white that, white the next thing. If that had been a white person that made that against them, they'd have been lifted out of that Scottish Parliament before they finished their sentence.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Thanks, William. Let's go to Tristan, Southend. Thanks for that, William. We'll give us another ring another time. Tristan in Southend on Sea. What do you want to say?
Hello, Ash. Good evening.
Hi, morning.
Yeah, last time I spoke to you and Andre, I was mentioning about my weight loss journey.
How's it going? You're on you're in the Ozempics.
Yep, consult a doctor and talk to your NHS before you do it. Everybody, don't buy it over the internet. Yep, I've lost another half stone.
Well, congratulations. Is that just because you're not hungry because you're on the Ozempic? I mean, there were stories this week, I don't know if it was Ozempic or another one, where there's, you know, there have been some medical problems with this stuff, and maybe in the future things will come out, maybe it affects your liver or kidneys and stuff like that. Are you worried about that sort of thing?
But so does obesity, Ash, do you know what I mean? So I think it's a bit of
But are you only meant to take it for a couple of years, aren't you, this stuff? You're not meant to have it for life, and once you stop, it's like a diet, you'll just pile on the pounds again, isn't that? Isn't there a limited time you're meant to be on it?
A certain number of months or years, I think it is. But
yeah, well, once you're off it, you're just going to balloon again.
I know. The method behind the madness, however, is when you've kept it off, your body's adapted to only eating little amounts of food rather
Yeah,
than...
but you have a little nibble here, nibble there, and it grows again, and then suddenly you go, what just happened?
I know that, but they have said I can stay on it long term because of my other health problems.
Talking of which, what just happened? Me, Samara, and Kev's show, obviously, that'll be on YouTube. It was on earlier. It'll be on YouTube, I think, from tomorrow or some.
I saw it earlier, and it's very much worth a watch, everybody. So
yeah.
Check it out online.
What just happened?
Very good show.
So, what did you want to talk about, man?
Okay, what I wanted to talk about was I probably have about 150 plus Twitter followers who all watch talkTV.
Yeah.
And they've all said this evening how well the lineup of you, Ash, you, Andre, and Danielle all works together as a threesome.
Well, yeah, it's a great threesome.
Oh, you, yourself, Andre, and Danielle, apparently.
Oh, what? So they like it? Your Twitter followers, do they?
My Twitter followers,
right?
Yeah, all avid talkTV fans, all absolutely love the show and the channel. Yeah, so get more Danielle if you can get her. Would be my advice.
We'll try and get her. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. How are you, Ash? How are you keeping?
I'm all right, man. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all going all right. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
Is that it?
Where's Andre? Is he still doing it?
Andre's he's got a problem with his throat. He's just gone out to soothe his throat a bit. He's got some tunes and that, yeah.
Right. What's he called this time?
Oh, who knows? Who knows what he's got? Who knows? It's a long list. It's a long list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks anyway, Tristan. We got a little break here. We'll take a breakie.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
03444991000. He's had his tunes and his throat's back as well as it can be. So let's start with Paula in Halifax. Paula, morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
How you all doing?
Well, I've got a bit of a frog in my
throat. I've.
Has everyone got a frog?
Yeah, we've all got a little bit.
No, well, what I thought was, obviously, Asher and I present together when James Whale's off. James Whale was ill tonight. It would have been pretty knobbish of me to have not turned up, right?
You spoke to him, didn't you? That's right. Yeah, but your phone... Yeah, you sound a lot better now. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to have some of this.
So what's up, man? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I've come round it now. I'm sorry, I'm still a bit upset.
Oh, what about Paula?
Well, James, I feel sickened for him. I really do feel sickened for him.
We are, just to be clear, at James's request, we're not getting into the emotional thing deliberately.
But he's doing all right, man. He was good tonight, wasn't he? And last week he was good. He keeps
and
it's actually therapy for him.
That's not Andre. That's not the only reason why I rang. I tried ringing last night because get yourself together.
Hey, look, being upset's not a bad thing, right? It's life.
Yeah, I know. I think it's because my cancer's come back.
Yes, I can understand that.
I can relate to him, you know.
Well, you're going for a rough time, aren't you? Your mother's not well, and it's all, starts.
She's been fast-tracked as well.
By the way, can I just say to everyone,
takes its toll.
James Whale is incredibly ill. However, he's been very, very ill before, right? Now, at the moment, there's no medical treatment being used, but if a new treatment is approved tomorrow, he may well go on to that treatment. Now, things are looking fairly bleak, but they've looked bleak before. I would just say that as a caveat to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Fair one on. But no, I tried to ring you last night because I'm going on to a totally different subject. When Trump's been bombing all these
Iranians.
Well, he dropped the bunker busters on the nuclear.
My sister's not like me. She's really sort of terrified, and she was about getting bloody passports and going somewhere. And I said, where the friggin' hell are you going to go? It's a World War III. I said, what are you going to do?
I think
it's a lot more terrifying them having a nuclear bomb.
I think that look. If you are worried about the danger in the world, there is always danger in the world. There is always challenges to every new generation. I don't agree with the fatalism of a lot of younger people. Let me tell you, Iran will not be allowed to get a nuclear weapon as long as the United States of America, the Western Alliance, and Israel exist.
As Syria wasn't, as Iraq wasn't.
That's what I've said.
As North Korea was, unfortunately.
No.
The world is actually safer. They've de-escalated by escalating. This is where Keir Starmer was so wrong in saying de-escalate. Well, that would have left them with a potential nuclear bomb.
Also, remember something. The Russian Federation is at war with Ukraine. Whatever you think, Ukraine is backed by NATO and the EU.
Yeah, well,
Ukraine is backed by countries that have nuclear weapons. Russia has nuclear weapons, and yet no nuclear weapons have been used.
And the rest of the world was secretly, they may come out in public and had a go at Trump and Israel, but in secret behind they're going, well done for doing that. You've really helped the world out.
I think there's a general view now. There is a general view now that people will only use nuclear weapons if their homeland is violated, which is never going to happen unless they are the nutter countries, your Irans and places like that.
But even North Korea have behaved themselves because they're sort of under China's control. But Iran,
so what do you guys think is going to happen from this?
Well, I think it'll carry on, and I think there'll have to be regime change just because they will not stop trying to do what they want to do.
I think Mohammed bin Salman, the leader, the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia, will sign the Abraham Accords. He will do a deal with Israel. I believe that the Israel situation will be normalised. We don't know what they're going to do about Gaza. Hamas has largely been smashed, and I believe that the Iranian public are going to rise up and they're going to hang the Ayatollah.
No.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I mean, even Syria, now that they haven't got Assad, we're helping Israel out. Shooting down missiles.
So, Andre, you don't think it's going to turn into a World War III?
No, I genuinely don't. I think.
No, I said that to my sister. I said, "What are you panicking for?"
Well, I think. Look. What you have to remember is, for the first time in most of our lifetimes, a scenario exists. There is a path to a world war. right? In a way that wasn't true perhaps 10 years ago, 5 years ago. However, a path to a world war is not, it does not mean it's definitely going to happen. The big risk is people think that the reason world wars happen is dictatorial regimes start invading their neighbours. That's not true. What happens is dictatorships where the dictators are starting to fail, read Putin and President Xi of China, where their economics is going the wrong way, see Adolf Hitler and Mussolini, that's when these people begin to become dangerous. Because what you have to remember is there's a big difference between a dictator and a democratically elected person. A dictator ends their term of office by being killed. Now, whether they die of natural causes or whether they're shot. Therefore, when they become desperate, they become extremely dangerous. So remember, from Putin's point of view, he will be shot in the Kremlin car park if he ever loses office. And so he might become fatalistic for the whole country, which is what Hitler did.
He's never chirped up, has he, Andre?
Well, no, Hitler's attitude was very, very simple, which is as long as we kill the maximum number of Jews before we lose the war, make sure Germany's obliterated because they let me down. And he had that fatalistic approach. However, the reality is many political leaders didn't have the fatalistic approach. Mussolini didn't destroy Italy. I mean, Franco actually handed over power, although he died of natural causes, to a democracy. President Xi of China, who knows what they'll do? But whilst there's a route to war, I don't believe it will necessarily happen. Could, but it probably won't.
Yeah.
Do you feel better now, Paula, now we've helped you out with that?
Yeah, no, because if they're panicking...
Well, you better tell her what we just sold you, you know, and everything.
I've just been on phone to her and I went, I think...
but now you found out what we've told you to say, you better call her back, hadn't you?
And
Will
if you
she be
can
up now? I mean,
and if you can remember all of it, you'll be a better man than me.
Just play her the YouTube of it, Paula.
I'll remember it all, Andre.
We'll just play it on YouTube. Anyway, thanks, Paula. Have we got a little break here? We got Terry. Terry in Birmingham. Terry.
Come on, Terry.
Go on, Terry.
Hey.
You all right, man? Hey, Terry. Terry. What's going on, man?
Just wanted to raise a glass to
Thanks, man.
James Welsh. I hope his health gets better as well.
James Welsh?
James I swear that's his name.
James Wales.
James Wales.
James Wales. I hope his health gets a lot better because he just reminded me of a time when my grandma passed away. She passed away from cancer, but yeah, I just wanted to say, what's your take on Iran and America? And
well, I think it's, you know, them not having a nuclear missile or a development of it, although there's people saying now that they still have a little bits of uranium and they may be, but the war will just carry on until it's totally, you can't leave them trying to make a nuclear bomb.
Making a nuclear bomb is incredibly difficult. I think the bigger risk is what's called a dirty bomb, which is a conventional bomb with radioactive material inside it.
But they purified it to 60%, and it's not
dirty to me.
It's not hard to get it from 60 to 90%, and then they got to have the delivery systems. But they were, you know, getting closer and closer, and 60% is not needed for. Do
you want to know an amazing fact? We're the only country in the world that rents nuclear weapons. Right,
so off America, we rent them, don't we?
The United States of America will not allow foreign nuclear weapons into its territory or its territorial waters. The way they get around it is that Britain uses Trident. So Trident is the warhead and the missiles, not the boats. But we have to rent them from the United States of America so that when they need to be serviced, they can legally be sent.
It's like a warranty at a car. But do you know what else we have to rent? We have to rent, do you know, we have to rent pandas from China. No one owns a panda. They're all licensed out from China.
Well,
everything needs to be made back in Britain again.
We never made pandas.
Yeah, well, we should get.
And I'm not so sure. I mean, Aldermaston is being refurbished at the moment. The last refurbishment, my dad was involved with it, though.
He put in some lovely wallpaper.
Precisely what my dad did for Britain's military nuclear project, I don't know, and I don't imagine he's going to tell me. But the thing is, my dad is now 77. And so this place hasn't been refurbished in a significant amount of time, but we're now doing it.
Oh, well, that's good news, isn't it? What are they going to do to refurbish it? Put him some
do whatever
halogen lights and stuff?
Do whatever it is that they do.
Some LEDs?
See, that's the thing. My father was back in the days, almost 60-odd years ago. He was a carpet fitter. He used to import carpet left, right, centre from Turkey, everywhere else. And what's called now, we can't get anything back. Now everything's gone, prices.
Do you mean you did that posh carpets like the Persian rugs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that market's dropped out, hasn't it, because of the internet?
I'll tell you what I worry about, Terry, and I don't want to sound like an old fuddy-duddy before my time, but I do worry when you look at say, I always give the example of washing machines. You know, people would get a washing machine as a wedding present and basically have it repaired until they retire. Now, I'm going a bit far, but these things would last.
They were well made, yeah.
They would last 20 years. They're made of steel and all this sort of thing. I worry that, and you're talking about your dad's and carpets, you know, when you bought a carpet, these things could be steam cleaned and last for 20 years. Now what we're doing is we're paying for stuff that appears on the face of it to be cheaper, but it's rubbish, and it's all going in the bin.
Yeah, they call it inbuilt...
obsolescence.
Obsolescence. Anyway, thanks, Terry. That was a good... we'll take a little breaky. Back with us too. In for James Wales after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. This is the James Wales Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. And my throat's a little bit broken. Therefore, what we'll do is we'll go for Nick in Norwich. Nick, you're on top.
Hold on, Nick. Let me just remind everyone that tomorrow from 10 a.m, forget Saturday Superstore, Tis Wasn't Swap Shop. From 10 a.m, it's Kevin O'Sullivan. And what just happened with me and Samara? And it's very funny and informative and educational. So make sure you're there. It's on YouTube. It was on earlier today on Talk, but it'll be on YouTube, released to everybody around the world at 10 a.m. Let's go to Heather and Gurvan.
Yeah, hang on. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's absolutely brilliant.
And you're on tomorrow's episode as well.
Oh, am I? Should we watch what I do on tomorrow's episode?
Should we have a look at it?
Well coordinated. Take it away, Maestro.
Look, yeah.
Her own rosé wine. We're going to be asking people what they think of it. Chateau de Sarsens, I think it's a vintage. This is from Meghan Markle. It's a new drink for this summer. She's saying that it's going to be hugely popular. Would you be willing to swap your pint for some rosé wine made by Meghan Markle?
No.
This is Meghan Markle's new range of drinks and food. Do you want to try of it?
Alcohol.
It's not alcohol. It is alcohol, yeah. Could you drink it and pretend it's Meghan Markle's drink and say you loved it? Yeah, go on. Go on. Yeah, go on. Just say, this is Meghan Markle's rosé. It is amazing.
This Meghan Markle rosé is amazing.
Has anyone ever described you as easily led?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be willing to buy some rosé wine made by Meghan Markle? Would you like to try Meghan Markle's wine? Oh, he was angry. No, I could see the anger in his eyes.
You got assaulted there, didn't you? But you can see that and a lot more. What just happened tomorrow from 10 a.m. on YouTube?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you've just joined, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm doing it with Samara and Kev, obviously anchoring and presenting.
I've got to be honest with you. I think that's a really, really strong team. You, Samara, and Kevin. Okay, let's go to Heather Ingevan. Talking of strong teams, let's go to Heather Ingevan. Heather, you're on talk.
Heather.
Meghan Markle's rosé wine? No, thank you.
Yeah,
have you been drinking?
I'd rather stick to my whiskey, thank you.
Oh, what whiskey do you like?
I like the famous Grouse.
Famous Grouse. Well, let me tell you something. For all of you whiskey lovers out there, there is a type of whiskey that's for sale in Lidl, and it's called Ben Bracken, and it is, let me see how much they're selling.
I've heard about this stuff in it. It's
Ben
a very
Bracken.
good single malt, is it? A single malt.
So Ben Bracken is the brand. It's the Isla single malt from Lidl, and they were selling it last week for £15.99. Okay.
What is it this week?
So it might be £17, but let me tell you something that's going to leave you shocked. It is actually the Ben Bracken from Lidl is rumoured to be Bowmore Legend, right? Which has an RRP of £34.90.
So you can get drunk for half the price.
So Bowmore, that well-known Isla single malt. Apparently, Ben Bracken Isla single malt whiskey from Lidl is the same stuff as their entry-level bottle.
Allegedly.
Obviously, not the expensive stuff. But
I've spent £26 on a bottle of 1 litre bottle of wine.
No, go to Lidl, go to
Yeah, we're not
Aldi.
encouraging drinking, you know.
We are.
Well, we are, right?
Yeah, we are. We don't care.
Well, I only spend £26 on a 1 litre bottle of whiskey.
Margaret Thatcher's favourite drink was Teacher's whiskey.
I mean, how much do you drink, though? Do you drink a lot?
Oh, I drink quite a lot on a night time.
No.
Yeah.
Just in the morning.
I rather... no, this is on a night time. Because I'd rather have a whiskey. I'd rather have a whiskey at night time to unwind and so then I can go to sleep.
Well, I've given up drinking recently, and I've been drinking Nirvana IPA that's alcohol free. Nirvana IPA, alcohol free IPA. Oh, it's good. It's nice. It's good, actually. It is good.
It's absolutely boring drink.
No, I've got rid of my gout by not drinking. I'm not joking.
Do you not get gout if it's alcohol-free? Is that it?
Well, you don't drink 15 of them, do you? If it's alcohol-free.
True, yeah. You can do it.
You don't stagger out. I've had 20 of them.
What about you, Ash? Do you drink?
Yeah, but not like, not professionally.
How many do you have a night?
Just a couple of bottles a night. No, not really. No, I treat my body as a temple, as you can probably tell.
So I could drink when I drank. I could drink a bottle of vodka and maybe 6 pints and seem reasonably sensible. But the only way
more sensible than he would be normally.
The producers could tell. The producers could tell when I'd had a few because I used to have a sudden drop in like blood sugar levels and I'd get angry. So I'd have mood swings, which is how they knew that I was ailed. But yeah, no more.
I get mood. I'm a grumpy old woman. I'm 55 years old, and I'm absolutely grumpy as hell.
That's not an old woman.
Yeah, 55's not old.
It's not old. It's middle age.
Have you seen those pictures?
I'm a grumpy middle-aged woman.
Have you seen?
Mind you, in Scotland, it is an older, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you seen pictures of people who were like 30 in 1960 and 30 now?
Yeah, it's
somebody
amazing,
showed me
yeah.
Sean Connery when he was like 32 and a modern 32-year-old.
It is quite strange.
I know the way the world's going at the moment, especially with politicians in this country, right up Do you know what? Do you know what's the problem here with these politicians? They have got their head so far up their ass they can only see shit in their eyes.
Some literally.
Oh, my
Some
God.
literally. Anyway, look, thanks,
I think she might have taken that metaphor a bit
Stop
farther.
drinking. Anyway, Ray, is it Roy? Roy in Hampshire. Roy
in Bungay.
What's going on, Roy?
I want to apologise for telling you off last week, mate.
What did you do? Roy?
I just said to your mate to let you get a word in edgeways.
Well, you were right, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Why are you
mate.
apologising for that?
All right, I won't apologise. But listen, that obnoxious man you had on last night, that...
Kenneth, Anti-Semite Sam, as we've named him. Kenneth O'Keefe.
Well, what you should have said to him, mate,
Yeah.
there are only two types of Marines. Royal Marines
Yeah.
and submarines.
Yeah, exactly. They're not
That's
the
what
same
we-
calibre as... They call them Marines. They're not like our Marines, are they? The training and everything they go through.
Well, I'm ex-forces, mate, and when we used to come across them, you know, they're not the same calibre.
What were you in? What unit were you in?
Well, I started off in the Guards, mate, and then I was in the Guards Para, Guards Independent Para, and then I ended up, I did 15 years in the regiment, mate.
So you know what you're talking about, then?
How old are you, Roy? Do you mind me asking?
Well, now, mate, I'm 79, boy.
Oh, I was going to say, because I knew some people who were in the Paras, but they're members of Pegasus Forces Lodge. I don't know if you're into Freemasonry.
No, mate, no.
Were you in the Falkland Islands with the Paras?
That was my last one, boy, yeah.
So you were there, and so what was the... You know, I heard that was a tremendous fight, you know, trench warfare. I mean, you were fighting a lot of conscripts, weren't you? But it was a horrible, tough war, wasn't it?
Well, a lot of it, mate. I mean, how can I put it? It was hand-to-hand. I mean, when I'd finished, mate...
Yeah, people were bayoneting each other. It was that horrendous, mainly British bayoneting Argentinian
I'll tell you,
conscripts.
Roy, I'd love to ask this question. One of... I heard, and I don't know if this is true, that what would happen is there'd be the ferocious fighting overnight because you had the night vision goggles, and then what would happen is you'd take some remote farmhouse and, like, some little old lady would come out with bacon sandwiches and a cup of tea, and it all became quite sort of weirdly normal. Is that true?
Yeah. They did. The Archers had better kit than us, mate.
Did they?
They did have night sights, you know. They were picking us
Yeah, but they didn't know what they were looking at, did they? I mean, and that's the same. That's with the British Army. We've always been sort of under-equipped, but we've got the best trained men. The Americans have everything, but their men aren't quite as...
Yeah, but we had a situation, Asher, when there were people who were dying in Iraq and Afghanistan because the body armour was substandard. And,
they had soft-sided Land Rovers, didn't they?
And the reality is that there were kids, the children were getting PlayStations that cost more than the body armour that was needed, and we couldn't even pay for it.
British soldiers buy their own kit, don't they, a lot of the time?
Yeah, but we didn't have body armour, mate. If it hadn't been for my Bergen, mate, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
Explain.
I mean, when we take Mount London, I think when we came down the mountain, I had I think there were seven or nearly 8 bullets in my Bergen, and that's what I was crouching behind. You know, it was nasty, mate. You know, blokes there with their guts hanging out, and
yeah, I mean, people were storming trenches and bayoneting people. It was horrendous, wasn't it? And the Argentinians weren't really up for it, were they?
No, mate. I mean, some of the kids, mate, they were only 17.
Yeah, they were just forced into it. It was horrendous, really.
I mean, that's actually, if you watch the depiction in Argentina, it's that the government of Argentina forced these children to come up against an unstoppable professional army in the British. And actually, whilst they don't like what the British did, the blame squarely falls with their own government, because they were like, look, these kids can be as brave as they like, but the British Army's hard as nails, and trying to touch them with conscripts is a joke.
But also, what do you think about the Chagos Islands? Do you think they'll give away the Falklands? And what about the Chagos Islands? That's an important base, isn't it? I mean, we did the first raid on the Falklands was with one of those bombers, wasn't it? What were they called? The Concorde was based on it. It had to fly from there. The Vulcan bomber, yeah. And what do you think about Starmer giving away our important territory, possibly Gibraltar as well?
Well, I think, mate, I don't know how we do it. I don't know if the King could do something about, cancelling Parliament. Or whether we could have a military takeover there, mate, and get some decent people in there, mate. But they're ruining our country.
Yeah, but the last King Charles that tried to get rid of Parliament had his head chopped off.
I think the concern amongst our friends in reform is whether the Supreme Court attempts to award itself the power to overrule Prime Minister Farage and indeed Parliament. At which point, and then there's a motion passed or a law passed to abolish the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court strikes down the law to abolish the Supreme Court. Then, unfortunately, you have to send in the army.
But you know that Peter Hitchens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Peter Hitch blames everything on marijuana.
Well, when he was at university, he was a communist when he was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But he was at university with Starmer. With Starmer.
Yes.
And Starmer was an out-and-out communist.
Oh yes.
He's older. He's quite a bit older than Starmer, but I think he knows all about him. He was a Trotskyist. They were both Trotskyists.
He was, mate. Yeah. And how can we have a communist, a prime minister of this country?
Well, this is the worst thing. That he just